Chapter 211. As for why Yi Fengyu was in the low profound class, Yi Qing Luo knew the reason. These 2 days, Yi Fengyu did not participate in the freshman training, but followed Old Man Guiyu and trained according to his style. Since Old Man Guiyu had agreed to take Yi Fengyu as his disciple, he would fulfill his responsibility as a master. Old Man Guiyu would not abide by the school's rules and did everything according to his own preferences. He let Yi Fengyu train with him, so those people in the school naturally did not dare to have any opinion. Old Man Guiyu thought that Yi Fengyu had completely ruined his foundation in the past few years in the ordinary school. Only by entering the low profound class could he start from the most basic level. Foundation was the most important issue in cultivation. If the foundation was not stable, no matter how high the profound grade was, if he met someone with a solid foundation, he would still be oppressed. Just like Yi Qing Luo, although her profound grade was not high, but with her own physical fitness and solid foundation, she had defeated Yi Qingling and Yi Qingqian. This was the importance of the foundation. Yi Qing Luo also agreed with this view. Therefore, she agreed to let Yi Fengyu go to the low, profound class. Following that, the names of Intermediate Profound Class 1 and 2 were read out. In Intermediate Profound Class 2, Yi Qing Luo heard Shangguan Lu Li's name. Lu Xiaoyu laughed softly and turned to look at the ashen-faced Shangguan Lu Li. To be able to enter the Intermediate Profound Class 2 was already considered as an excellent student. However, for Shangguan Lu Li, she could not be happy at all. Shangguan Lu Li clenched her fists tightly, endured the anger in her heart, and concealed the displeasure on her face. She had 100% chance of entering the high profound class. If it was not because of Yi Qing Luo, she would not have been humiliated in these 2 days of training and would not have suffered the humiliation of being forced to change dormitory. Now the whole school had treated her as a joke. At this time, Shangguan Lu Li had transferred all her hatred to Yi Qing Luo. Just as Lu Xiaoyu was snickering, she heard Lu Shuayu's cold voice read out. Intermediate Profound Class 2, Lu Xiaoyu. What? Lu Xiaoyu could not hold back and exclaimed out loud. Her eyes widened as she stared at Lu Shuayu. In the quiet training ground, Lu Xiaoyu's voice attracted everyone's attention. Lu Shuayu frowned unhappily. Any objections? Of course. Before she could voice out her opinion, her arm was pulled by Yi Qing Luo. Of course not. Yi Qing Luo raised a smile. Xiaoyu had always been not very confident. She was too excited to be able to enter the Intermediate Profound Class 2. Lu Xiaoyu's hand was hurting from Yi Qing Luo's fingers, but she endured it and forced a smile. Yes. Too excited. Too excited. He was so excited that his hair was about to stand on end. In the same class as Shangguan Lu Li, would he still be able to study properly in the future? Lu Shuayu gave Yi Qing Luo a cold stare, and her gaze returned back to the scroll in her hands as she continued to read out the following names. In the end, there were only 3 students left. Yi Qing Luo, Dong Huanglang, Qi Yijing. Everyone's gaze shifted to the 3 of them. In this batch of new students, there were only 3 who could enter the high profound class. The only suspense was Class 1 and Class 2. Lu Shuayu stared at the names on the scroll and looked up. High profound Class 1, Dong Huanglang, Qi Yijing. She paused and moved her finger to the bottom of the scroll. Everyone held their breath. It seemed that Yi Qing Luo was going to enter the high profound Class 2. It seemed that since the establishment of the school, this was the first time that a new student could directly enter the high profound Class 2. No wonder she was the disciple of the Overlord. Lu Shuayu's hand stopped at the last line of the scroll. Chapter 212. Yi Qing Luo Devil Class. Devil Class? The surrounding students sucked in a mouthful of cold air. Yi Qing Luo was allocated to the Devil Class. How could that be possible? Although Yi Qing Luo's profound grade was low, but her ability had far surpassed those cultivators in the mystic profound stage. Thinking of Yi Qing Luo's heroic deeds, passing the ability assessment in half an hour, breaking the Academy's record, and challenging Yi Qingling, who had already advanced to the mystic profound stage and had the Dark Forces item. Wasn't this enough to prove Yi Qing Luo's ability? Totally not worse than the students in the high profound class, especially these 2 days of freshman training. Yi Qing Luo was the one who completed it the best. The students recalled the dispute between Yi Qing Luo and the Shangguan family and being invited to the faculty council. It couldn't be that the faculty council was deliberately taking revenge, right? Elder Yunxiang, have you allocated the wrong class? Based on Qing Luo's ability, even if she can't enter the high profound class too, she definitely won't be in the devil class. Lu Xiaoyu couldn't hold back as she gritted her teeth and shouted angrily. In the academy, there was a class of gods which was known as the Sacred Legend. So naturally there would be the devil class, which made people tremble with fear and despise. This devil class was the most trashy and useless class in the Heavenly Academy. The students inside were all weird and even scarier than the students in the class of gods. Any masters who stepped into the boundary of the devil class would be frightened by this group of students and would not dare to take another step. But the academy needed such a class to maintain the overall balance of the academy. If there was a mistake when recruiting students, or if the students were disobedient, they would be thrown into the devil class directly. Once they went to the devil class, then they would be hooked with the trash. Lu Xiaoyu was so angry that her cheeks flushed red as she clenched her fists tightly. However, Yi Qing Luo's face was as still as water, without any extra expression. This is the unanimous decision of the elders. If Student Lu has any opinions, you can come to the elders directly to raise it. Elder Yunxiang smiled with curved eyebrows as he stroked his white beard. Lu Xiaoyu was flustered. Elder Yunxiang was obviously making things difficult for her. He was deliberately targeting Yi Qing Luo. Just as she was about to open her mouth to argue, Yi Qing Luo shook her head at her. Lu Xiaoyu bit her lower lip and puffed her cheeks angrily. Suddenly, Instructor Chu, who was standing on the right side of the student, frowned and took a step forward. Elder Yunxiang, I, as an instructor, would like to raise a question to the elders. Instructor Ho took a step forward. Although he didn't say anything, the meaning was obvious. He and Instructor Chu wanted to seek justice for Yi Qing Luo. The dozen masters were in an uproar. Each and every one of them stared at Yi Qing Luo with some probing gazes. Who would have thought that the two men who had always been known as cold-faced instructors would actually speak up for a student? Elder Yunxiang's face darkened. What questions do you have? Instructor Ho and I are very clear about student Ye's strength. With her strength, even if she were to enter the high profound class too, it would be a matter of course. I don't understand why the elder quarters would assign student Yi to the devil class. Elder Yunxiang placed his hands behind his back and the smile on his face gradually froze. The students recruited by the Heavenly Academy, other than strength, must also have good moral qualities. It is because of student Ye's strength that created her shortcoming of being arrogant. 2 days after entering the academy, she had a conflict with the students, forced her roommate to leave, and even had a quarrel with the high profound class, and was even reported to the faculty council. One by one, he said it as if it was a serious matter. Yi Qing Luo couldn't help but laugh out loud. If student Yi can settle her temperament in the devil class, she would naturally be able to return to the low, profound class after 1 year. Chapter 213. Instructor Chu's cold and stiff face revealed a trace of anger. This was obviously sophistry. The usually upright and plain-spoken instructor's pair of sharp eyes faintly leapt into a fiery red. Yes, of course. Before he could finish his words, a clear voice interrupted Instructor Chu's words. It's all right, I'll go to the devil class. Yi Qing Luo's lips curled up into a faint smile. Her face was calm, without any hint of displeasure. From the surrounding students' eyes, Yi Qing Luo could tell that the devil class was probably not a good class. And as compared to the low profound class, it was a little lower. Seeing Instructor Chu and Instructor Ho clashing with Elder Yunxiang because of her, Yi Qing Luo had already felt the instructor's intentions. After all, they still had to teach in the academy, and offending the elders would not be beneficial to them. Student Yi, devil class that place, will bury your abilities. Instructor Chu was extremely unwilling, but he was only an instructor and could only be in charge of the freshmen's training. He had no right to interfere with the new students' class allocation. A real talent, no matter where, will not be buried. Yi Qing Luo's lips curled up as she gave a deep bow to the two instructors. I know both instructors are doing this for my own good. It's all right, as a student, I naturally have to abide by the academy's arrangements. The two instructors looked at each other in the eye. The reason why they stood on Yi Qing Luo's side was because they cherished the talent. As the ones who trained the freshmen, they admired students with potential the most. But now, they admired this young lady from the bottom of their hearts. She was obviously only 15 years old, but her thinking was so mature that even they were ashamed of themselves. The surrounding students were also infected by Yi Qing Luo's words. That's right, gold will always shine. A real talent, no matter where, as long as there was a chance, would be able to shine dazzlingly. Finally, the class allocation was done. Elder Yunxiang said some old words and let the students go back to rest. This was the last rest for the students. Tomorrow morning, they still had to come back to the training ground to continue training. After the training, they had to go back to their own class to listen to the teacher's guidance. When the students heard the news, they all cried and hurriedly dispersed. All of them couldn't wait to return to the dormitory and sleep till the end of time. The lively training ground gradually quietened down. Lu Xiaoyu pulled Yi Qing Luo's sleeve. Her face was filled with anger. Qing Luo, why did you agree? I don't believe that if we students join hands to protest to the elders' quarters, they will still insist on sending you to the devil class. Smart people will only choose to protect themselves. Who do you think will agree to protest? Yi Qing Luo shook her head helplessly. Lu Xiaoyu was indeed too young. The status of a student in the academy was considered the lowest, unless your own strength is enough for the academy to value you. Otherwise, no matter what status one had outside the academy, one would have to listen to the headmaster's teachings in the academy. These students didn't have any relationship with Yi Qing Luo, so why would they take the risk of offending the elders' quarters just to protest for her? How can you be so calm? Those who don't know would have thought that I'm the one going to the devil class. Lu Xiaoyu saw Yi Qing Luo's indifferent look as she anxiously stomped her feet. Chapter 214. Xiaoyu. Yi Qing Luo's calm voice seemed to have a magical power that could soothe the anxiety in one's heart. She raised her pink lips and put her hand on Lu Xiaoyu's body. Her charming eyes bloomed with a coquettish radiance. No matter which class, it's all the same to me. A person's growth is not just because of the environment, because the class you are in, it will limit your own strength. She smiled. Her charming eyes became firm. My talent, my ability, my determination to become strong will not change because of anything. Lu Xiaoyu was stunned. Under the influence of Yi Qing Luo, her whole body seemed to be burning with a raging fire ignited. That's right. A person's growth depends on themselves, not others. As long as she was determined, even if the environment was limited, even if there were many obstacles, it would be easily solved. She was just assigned to the devil class. At most, she would train herself in the devil class, work hard, work harder than others, struggle a little more than others. Why couldn't she be compared to others? Lu Xiaoyu's face revealed a smile. She held Yi Qing Luo's hand. Qing Luo, I understand. I will record everything that the master taught me and then pass it to you. Seeing that this girl was determined to help her, Yiqing Luo could only smile. Then I'll have to trouble you. Lu Xiaoyu then let it go. The two left the training ground hand in hand. Behind them, the two instructors were surprised. Both pairs of eyes stared at Yiqing Luo's departing figure. The school has its own survival rules. This is student Ye's fate. You don't have to blame yourself. Instructor Ho, who rarely spoke lightly. He reached out and put his hand on Instructor Chu's shoulder. Instructor Chu glanced sideways slightly. I just feel pity. This girl will definitely become a great person in the future. She is born to stand on the peak. So, what are you feeling pity about? Believe in her, that's enough. Yiqing Luo and Lu Xiaoyu were on the way back to the dormitory. The surrounding students were pointing and discussing. At first, the two thought that the students were discussing about Yiqing Luo being assigned to the devil class. But listening carefully, it wasn't the case. Yiqing Luo vaguely heard Old Man Goeiyu's name. An ominous premonition arose in her heart. She grabbed a random student and asked with a sullen face, "What are you talking about? What happened to Teacher Goeiyu?" That student was from the low profound class and was frightened by Yiqing Luo's imposing manner as he stuttered. Master Goeiyu went to the elder quarters. I heard that it was because of your matter, and he's making a big fuss. No one could stop him." Before he could finish, the student's collar was flung away. He only felt a gust of cold wind blowing past his face, and where was Yiqing Luo's figure in front of him? Behind him, his brothers surrounded him and teased him. The low profound class students only replied with two words, "Beautiful, cool." Yiqing Luo's footsteps were as swift as the wind. Following the memory of the map which she had seen in the academy's booklet, she found the location of the elder quarters. Outside the elders' quarters, there were dozens of students. Standing outside the courtyard, Yiqing Luo could hear the carnage and the sound of things falling onto the ground. A series of noises shocked the surrounding students and caused them to exclaim. Yiqing Luo had just arrived at the entrance of the elder quarters and was about to enter when she was stopped by two gatekeepers. The elder quarters are handling some matters. Students are not allowed to enter. The courtyard door was tightly shut and Yiqing Luo couldn't see the situation inside. Chapter 215. Other than me, no one can stop Master Goeiyu. Yiqing Luo glanced coldly at the doorman. If you want the elder quarters to become a joke, you cannot let me in. The doorman sized up Yiqing Luo. You are Yiqing Luo? This appearance, this temperament, was indeed similar to the rumored Yiqing Luo. Yiqing Luo couldn't be bothered to talk nonsense with them. She grabbed one of the doorman's arm and pulled him away. She directly barged into the elder quarters. Lu Xiaoyu followed closely behind and was just about to enter when she was stopped by the doorman. The moment Yiqing Luo entered the elder quarters, her face was filled with sand and dust. She lifted her sleeve and wiped it on her face. Damn, what's the situation? Yiqing Luo squinted her eyes through her sleeves. In the elder quarters courtyard, there was a cloud of sand and dust. The flowers and trees at the edge of the courtyard were blown to the ground. In the midst of the sand and dust, a white figure was waving his wide sleeves, releasing bursts of profound qi. At the entrance of the main hall, there were 6 elderly dressed as elders, pacing back and forth in panic. Old Man Goeiyu, let's talk it out, let's talk it out. We are all on the same side. Why get physical and hurt the harmony? Old Man Goeiyu sneered coldly. Who the F*** CK is on the same side? I am here to fight with you bunch of stubborn old fogies. You even dare to bully my Luo lass. You really have the guts. Old Man Goeiyu, we are innocent. Why don't you come in for a cup of tea first? Let's have a good talk. What is the misunderstanding? Yiqing Luo listened to these words. Her face was filled with black lines. It turned out that after Old Man Goeiyu came to the elder quarters, he did not say anything and directly smashed the elder quarters. This temper was simply too awesome. She loved his personality so much that she couldn't stop loving him. Misunderstanding my ass. My Luo lass's aptitude is outstanding. She could obviously enter the high profound class too, but she was assigned to the devil class. Are you blind, or are you blind, or are you blind? What are you stammering for? If you don't give me a satisfactory explanation, I will annihilate your elder quarters today. Old man Guiyu shouted arrogantly. A gust of qi formed a whirlpool under Old man Guiyu's feet. Countless whirlwinds blew the sand and dust all over the ground again. Yi Qing Luo choked and coughed lightly. She covered her face and said, Teacher Guiyu! Teacher Guiyu, please wait. Girl Luo. Upon hearing Yi Qing Luo's voice, Old man Guiyu's face was instantly filled with smiles. His figure flashed, and he dashed towards Yi Qing Luo. The whirlwind in the courtyard also gradually stopped. When the elders saw that the courtyard had finally regained its peace, they all heaved a sigh of relief. Sister. In the corner of the courtyard, Yi Fengyu, who was hiding from the dust, immediately ran over when he saw Yi Qing Luo. Master Guiyu, what are you doing here? Yi Qing Luo flicked her sleeves and dusted herself off. There was a lot of sand on her face and head. Old man Guiyu immediately stretched out his hand and patted the dust off Yi Qing Luo's head. You lass, you have been bullied like this as your backing. I must come forward to seek justice for you. Old man Guiyu's actions were rough. This pat and grab had caused Yi Qing Luo's high ponytail to become a ball. Yi Qing Luo was helpless. She waved off Old man Guiyu's hand. All right, go back and wash your hair later. She scratched her hair and looked at the 6 elders. She didn't see Elder Yun Xiang among them. Chapter 216. Sister, you have been allocated to the devil class. I will accompany you. Yi Fengyu held Yi Qing Luo's hand. Before he could finish his words, his hand was flung away. Yi Qing Luo twisted his ears. What nonsense are you talking about? You came to the academy to become stronger, not to accompany me. Listen to Teacher Guiyu's words if he wants you to go to the low, profound class. You'd better stay there obediently. Guiyu leaned forward. I think let him go to the devil class. He still couldn't finish his words, because Yi Qing Luo raised her eyes and stared straight at him. Guiyu coughed a few times and looked away. That's right, kid, your foundation is not good enough. You have to train your foundation in the low, profound class. Yi Fengyu covered his ears in pain and responded repeatedly. Yi Qing Luo then let go of him and looked at the 6 elders. Elders, I'm sorry for causing you trouble. No trouble, no trouble. At this moment, there was only one thought in the minds of the elders. As long as Old man Guiyu was taken away, everything was no trouble. Lass, what are you apologizing for? Old man Guiyu lifted Yi Qing Luo's collar. This bunch of stubborn old men. How dare they put you in the devil class? All right, Teacher Guiyu, I know you are doing this for my own good, but this matter has nothing to do with these elders. Yi Qing Luo comforted him softly. It's all right, I will go to the devil class, which class is not important to me. Nothing to do with these elders? Could it be other elders? Old man Guiyu, you caught the main point. Tell me which stubborn old man assigned you to the devil class. I will go and chop him up right now. I'm old, teacher. At most you can come to the devil class and be a teacher. Yi Qing Luo caught a glimpse of the elders' nervous expressions and held Old man Guiyu's arm as they walked towards the direction of the door. Upon hearing this suggestion, Old man Guiyu clapped his hands happily. That's right. Why didn't I think of that? I will be a teacher for you. There was no teacher in the devil class. If Old man Guiyu was the teacher, no matter how weird the students were, they would definitely be tamed by him. The devil grew 1 foot the way grew 10 feet. Yi Qing Luo finally convinced Old man Guiyu. The 3 of them left the elders' department. The 6 elders all patted their chests, and they could finally breathe more easily. Unexpectedly, Old man Guiyu cared so much about that female student. He did not know who the female student had offended to be forcefully assigned to the devil class. This female student's aptitude and potential was indeed enough to enter the high profound class too. Unfortunately, the elders shook their heads and helplessly began to clean up the mess in the courtyard. Yi Qing Luo was sent back to the dormitory by the duo. With old man Guiyu around, there were no rules. Without a second word, he forcefully entered the female dormitory area and arrived at Yi Qing Luo's dormitory. "Sister, do you really intend to go to the devil class?" Yi Fengyu pursed his lips, his face showing his unwillingness. Big sister was obviously so powerful, so why did she have to enter the academy's most useless class? If word of this got out, the two from Three Springs Manor would probably mock her again. "Little Luo, that class isn't the class you imagined. You better think about it carefully." Old man Guiyu cracked his knuckles. "If you don't want to go, I can transfer you to High Profound Class 2 anytime now." Chapter 217. Old man Guiyu's angry face gradually calmed down. After a moment of silence, he smiled again. "I am just a low-level teacher in the academy. I just eat and drink in the academy." Old man Guiyu was still the same, laughing like a lunatic, but in his eyes Yi Qing Luo caught a sliver of pain. "Teacher, although I've never been to the academy, I still have some understanding of the rules of the academy." Yi Qing Luo pursed her thin lips. "You are the academy's master, and yet you are making such a big fuss with the elders because of me if it reaches the director." She could feel old man Guiyu's intentions. That was enough. It was just a devil class. There was absolutely no need to cause Guiyu to be forced to leave the academy for such a small matter. "I don't know your status in the academy, but I do know that the elder department has a high status in the academy. Even if they were willing to submit to you in front of you, you still caused a scene in front of the students, causing them to lose face. Ha ha ha. Luo lass, are you worried about me?" Old man Guiyu patted Yi Qing Luo's shoulder heavily. "Don't worry, I'm more than enough to deal with those old fogies. Even if the dean comes, I won't give him the cold shoulder." Yi Qing Luo was even more curious about the identity of old man Guiyu. It was said that old man Guiyu's position in the academy was second only to the dean. But he wasn't even afraid of the headmaster. What was his relationship with the dean? "All right, Luo lass, I am going to be a teacher in the devil class. I won't leave the academy so easily. Don't worry." Old man Guiyu wasn't willing to reveal his identity, and Yi Qing Luo wasn't one to force him. So she didn't continue asking. Old man Guiyu would never speak without confidence. Since he was sure that he would not be punished, he would definitely be fine. "The devil class shall be the devil class. I will stick to my original heart and will not be affected by anyone, anything, or any environment." Yi Qing Luo turned her head to look at him. "My fate is up to me, not the heavens. Fate is in my own hands. It's not like I'll be able to soar to the skies if the academy arranges for me to be in the high profound class too. And it's not like I'll be unable to recover from the setback if the academy arranges for me to be in the devil class." Hearing this, Yi Fengyu's eyes suddenly widened. There seemed to be a lofty aspiration spreading from the bottom of his heart. "My fate is in my hands, not in the hands of the heavens. Little Luo, I knew from the first glance that you were a dragon among men. It's this personality of yours that makes me love you deeply." Old man Guiyu laughed and applauded. They talked for a while. After all, this was a female dormitory. If a roommate came back and saw a man in the dormitory, it would not be good. The two of them left. Old man Guiyu left excitedly to apply to be the teacher of the devil class. The dormitory became quiet. When she returned to her room, her spiritual sense entered the azure dew bracelet and she began to cultivate. She had to break through the mystic class as soon as possible. Stuck at the 9th level of the Yellow Xian realm, unable to break through that barrier no matter what. This kind of feeling was simply too unbearable. Although this body, after purification, was much faster in cultivating Xian Qi than ordinary people, it was still not enough. But after all, it was impossible to become fat in one bite when it came to cultivation. If he wanted to break through and advance, he had to find an opportunity to advance. The more anxious he was, the more irritated he would be. It could easily lead to qi deviation. Yi Qing Luo took a deep breath and suppressed the impatience in her heart. She closed her eyes and began to absorb the spiritual qi in the azure dew bracelet. She calmed her heart and circulated the Xian Qi in her body to blend with the spiritual qi. Gradually, for hours had passed. Yi Qing Luo opened her eyes. Her face revealed a frustrated look. Why did she always feel that the barrier to advance, but she could not touch it no matter what? Chapter 218. Girl, cultivation is taboo to be impetuous. Old man Song sighed when he saw Yi Qing Luo's tightly knitted brows. I know. Yi Qing Luo took a deep breath and raised her hand to press down on her chest. She felt her heartbeat and the profound jade heart's aura. There are too many things I want to do. The more I think, the more impatient I get. She wanted to improve her ability. If she didn't have absolute strength, even if she found the whereabouts of her profound jade heart, she might not have the ability to take it back. She wanted to improve her strength and release the suppressed power of Qi after the contract with her. After improving her ability, the ability to control the heart fire during refining would also improve, which would help her rush to the level of Pill Sovereign. The profound Qi in your body is enough. If you want to advance, you have to find the right opportunity. Old Man Song said, this opportunity may be your daily training, or when you are cultivating, or when you are fighting. These opportunities can't be rushed. Yi Qing Luo nodded, looking a bit tired. Then, why don't I try to challenge the second level of purgatory? Perhaps in the process of the challenge, she might be able to advance. With your current state, you should rest for a while. When you can use teleportation freely, you can give it a try. Old Man Song shook his head. The first level's challenge is not even 1/10 of the second level's danger. This old man can't let you take risks that you have no confidence in. Yi Qing Luo knew that Old Man Song was thinking for her sake and didn't insist. After withdrawing her consciousness from the azure dew bracelet, Yi Qing Luo opened her eyes. When she opened her eyes, she was met with a pair of long and narrow eyes that were as black as ink. Almost subconsciously, Yi Qing Luo's palm moved, gripping the glower flame fan, and attacked forward. However, her lightning-fast hand was intercepted in midair. The glower flame fan left her hand and fell into the other's palm. Ah, Luo, you're finally back. A low and hoarse voice whispered ambiguously in her ear. Yi Qing Luo fell into a familiar embrace. A fresh and elegant sandalwood scent filled her nose. Yi Qing Luo's originally stiff body gradually relaxed. Just coming out of the azure dew bracelet, her mind was still in a mess when she suddenly saw someone staring at her from the bed. Yi Qing Luo subconsciously thought that another killer had sneaked into her room. Unexpectedly, it was Dmo Xian. Could it be that this body of hers was already completely familiar with Dmo Xian's scent? She had not sensed Dmo Xian's existence within the azure dew bracelet. Yi Qing Luo turned her head and looked out of the window. The sky was not dark yet. Why are you here so early? For the past 2 days, he would only appear in the middle of the night. Of course I miss Ah Luo. Dmo Xian's lips curled up as he circled her tiny body. Ah Luo seems to be in a lot of trouble in the academy. Do you need me to help? He lifted Yi Qing Luo's lower jaw as their eyes met. That fiery gaze fell on her delicate face. That pair of long and narrow peach blossom eyes that were like a pool of spring water revealed a charm that made one unable to look away. No need. Yi Qing Luo shook her head as she raised her hand to cover his eyes. If this pair of eyes continued to stare at her, she was afraid that she would not be able to control herself. Let nature take its course regarding the Academy's matters. If I needed help, I wouldn't have rejected teacher just now. She didn't want to rely on others for everything. Blindly relying on it would only cause one to stagnate. No matter what troubles there were in the Academy, she wanted to rely on herself to solve everything. Chapter 219. The southwest of the West Continent was a place called the Magic Beast Forest. The Magic Beast Forest, as the name suggested, was a place where magical beasts roamed and all kinds of heroes captured the beasts. Why did you bring me here? Yi Qing Luo frowned. As far as the eye could see, apart from the lush foliage of the trees, there were only trees. He could vaguely see groups of mercenaries coming and going. Dmo Xian stood behind her with one arm around her waist. Ah, Luo, aren't you worried about how to advance to the profound grade? You mean? Here, I can find a breakthrough opportunity. Yi Qing Luo's eyes brightened as she turned to look at the man behind her. At this time, both of them had put on a mask, two ordinary faces that couldn't be more ordinary. But no matter how ordinary the face, it couldn't conceal Dmo Xian's innate noble temperament, especially his pair of narrow peach blossom eyes, which revealed a breathtaking charm. This ordinary face and this pair of eyes were completely incompatible. Whether you can find a breakthrough opportunity or not, it's all up to you. Dmo Xian's lips curved slightly as he leaned down and whispered in her ear, "You have one night's time. I will send you back to the Academy before tomorrow's training. So, don't even think about sleeping tonight. But if you can find a breakthrough opportunity, it's worth it not to sleep." The breakthrough of each profound grade was the most difficult hurdle to cross. Some people could cross it in one day. Some people spent their whole lives and still couldn't break through. This was a person's fate and luck. Yi Qing Luo didn't want her profound grade to be stuck at the yellow profound grade, unable to cross the hurdle of profound grade. She absolutely complied with Dmo Xian's suggestion. She didn't realize that at this time, she and Dmo Xian's posture was very intimate, like a loving couple. Several groups of people who were heading into the depths of the Magic Beast Forest would occasionally turn their eyes to them. Once they saw that there were only two of them, with an ordinary appearance, they disdainfully looked away and walked straight into the Magic Beast Forest. The Magic Beast Forest was divided into 7 levels. The first level was the outermost periphery of the forest, where the low-level magical beasts lived. The second and third levels covered the low-level magical beasts and a few intermediate-level magical beasts. The fourth and fifth levels were where mid-level and high-level magical beasts gathered. There were also very few magical beasts. Once they reached the 5th line, the mercenaries would not dare to venture outside. Unless all the mercenaries in this mercenary group were at the mystic realm, perhaps they would dare to take the risk and test the waters at the 6th level. The 6th level was filled with ferocious, illusory beasts. As for the 7th level mirage beasts, it was said that they were like humans and had human consciousness. They could speak the human language and live like humans. Of course, there were rumors about the 7th level, but they were just rumors. No one had ever confirmed it. For many years, no one had been able to come out of the 7th level alive. If this ordinary couple came to a dangerous place like the magical beast forest, they would at most be able to wander around in the 2nd tier. It would not affect the interests of their mercenary group. These mercenary groups didn't think much of Yi Qing Luo and him. Which level are we going to? Yi Qing Luo looked up at Dmo Xian. Let's go to the 5th level first and pick some small magical beasts to practice with. Yi Qing Luo blinked her eyes. Why did the meaning in these words sound a little horrifying? What did it mean to go to the 5th level first? The 5th level was a level that only mercenary groups of 40 to 50 people dared to go. Could it be that after practicing, he still wanted to advance to the 6th level? Damn it. Chapter 220. No matter how Yi Qing Luo wailed in her heart, she had been forcefully embraced by Dmo Xian and walked towards the depths of the magic beast forest. There weren't many magic beasts at the second level, and they were all cleared by the mercenary groups ahead. Yi Qing Luo and Dmo Xian walked with ease. They were just taking a walk. Until they reached the fourth level, there were several intermediate-level magic beasts. Dmo Xian released Yi Qing Luo's hand and took a step back. Yi Qing Luo was clear that he wanted her to do it herself and had no intention of helping. The best way to increase strength was to fight continuously. Only through fighting could one's profound grade be maximized and used to stimulate one's potential. Yi Qing Luo clenched the glower flame fan and leaped towards the intermediate-level magic beast. After a while, the intermediate-level magic beast fell to the ground. A sparkling crystal object popped out from the magic beast's head. Hey, intermediate-level magic beasts also have magic cores. Yi Qing Luo picked up the crystal object. The magic core was the source of the magic beast's strength and was equivalent to the human's profound jade heart. The magic core was also the food of the magic beast and was the best material for refining weapons. The magic beasts in the magic beast forest have different strengths. Dmo Xian walked forward slowly and took Yi Qing Luo into his arms once again. Go further in, and you may be able to collect some magic crystals. Magic crystal was the upgraded version of the magic core. Among the advanced magic beasts, only a small number of them could form a magic crystal. The use of the magic crystal was even more amazing than the magic core. The power in the magic crystal could be absorbed by humans and transformed into their own strength. Countless cultivators wanted to collect magic crystal to help themselves advance. Because of this, the price of magic crystal was raised to a high level, because only mirage beasts would have magic crystal in their head. To kill a mirage beast, it required a team of 70 to 80 cultivators who were at the mystic level and above to be able to kill it successfully. Dmo Xian said it so easily. Nirvana Legend was a legend after all. He spoke with such confidence. But did the Overlord intend to let her fight the mirage beast alone? If that was the case, she only wanted to say, I can't do it. Along the way, Yi Qing Luo slaughtered the magical beasts and collected the magic cores. Dmo Xian stood behind her, his peach blossom eyes looking at her tenderly. It wasn't until she had killed 2 to 3 advanced leveled magical beasts that Yi Qing Luo started to feel strained. At this moment, they were already standing at the edge of the 5th level. Yi Qing Luo intended to stop here. Dmo Xian, there might be danger if you go any further in. Even mercenary groups might not dare to go to the 5th level, and there were only 2 of them. She knew that Dmo Xian was powerful, but to what extent she had never seen it. Moreover, from the looks of it, Dmo Xian had no intention to make a move. Are you afraid? Dmo Xian raised his brows as his lips curled into a smile that didn't look like a smile. Yi Qing Luo was stunned as her eyelids drooped down and her fingers subconsciously clenched into a fist. Scared? She had gone through a hail of bullets and gone through fire and water, but she had never feared death. Otherwise, he wouldn't have detonated the plane, jumped off the plane, and perished together with those old men. What was she worried about? Yi Qing Luo wasn't sure what this unfamiliar feeling in her heart meant. In her past life, she had no friends or relatives. She had no one to rely on, and even if she died, no one would shed tears for her. So life and death wasn't important to her. But now, she had a younger brother whom she wanted to protect as he grew up. She had people whom she wanted to protect. She had promised those people to do something, but she hadn't done it. If something happened to her, they would shed tears for her. For the first time in her life, she actually tasted the taste of timidity in the face of danger. The her now was more like a person. Chapter 221. Luo, do you believe me? Dmo Xian saw the evasive look in Yi Qing Luo's eyes. He took her hand and put it to his lips. His warm lips were printed on the back of Yi Qing Luo's hand. Yi Qing Luo's hand trembled as she regained her senses from her chaotic thoughts and stared at Dmo Xian. Believe me, the 4th level will not be your limit. If you want to break through successfully, you have to go further. 5th level, 6th level, or even 7th level. Yi Qing Luo widened her eyes in disbelief. He was sure he was not joking. She was a yellow, profound, 9th grade cultivator. No matter how strong her potential was, if she had no fear and believed that she could rush to the 6th or 7th level. That was not confidence, that was stupidity, that was arrogance. Ah, Luo, I'm here. DMO Xian raised his eyes. That pair of long and narrow peach blossom eyes were moist and extremely charming. She just took a glance and couldn't help but sink into it. The most touching words of love in the world was, "I'm here." He was here. Could she really get used to him around? She had never experienced such feelings before. Should she follow her intuition and rely on this man for once? Why are there 2 people here? Suddenly, a sweet voice sounded behind her. Behind her, there was a burst of neat footsteps. Yi Qing Luo turned her head back and saw a frail-looking lady hanging onto the man next to her. Behind them, there was a mercenary group of about 40 people. "Just the 2 of you?" The woman glanced behind the 2 of them and frowned. "This is the 4th level. You 2 should hurry back." This gentle whisper and extremely concerned words almost made Yi Qing Luo laugh. Enemies were bound to meet on a narrow road. She didn't expect to run into acquaintances when she sneaked out of the academy. These 2 were none other than Lung Fenghua and Yi Qingqian. Now that it was the first day of school, Yi Qingqian should be in the Heavenly Academy. She actually sneaked out of the academy. Perhaps it was because of Lung Fenghua. Some time ago, Yi Qing Luo had exposed the affair between Yi Qingqian and Lung Fenghua in front of the people. No matter how they tried to explain, they couldn't explain it to the people. Moreover, if Lung Fenghua wanted to marry Yi Qingqian, it would confirm the rumors that they had an affair long ago. For the sake of his own reputation, Lung Fenghua naturally wouldn't be like before, looking for Yi Qingqian every few days for a lovey-dovey session. He wasn't looking for Yi Qingqian. Yi Qingqian panicked. Thinking of ways to appear in front of Lung Fenghua, she was determined to secure the position of crown princess. "The 2 of you dare to come to the 4th level? Even if you want to die, don't do it in front of me." How unlucky! Lung Fenghua disdainfully glanced at the 2 of them. The 2 of them looked extremely ordinary, and their clothes were also ordinary. Even his profound rank was so weak that he almost couldn't sense it. He felt that it was a waste of time to look at these 2 pieces of trash. "Your Highness, please don't be angry. Just let these 2 people leave." Yi Qingqian comforted him gently. Her little hand gently stroked Lung Fenghua's chest. The beauty's soft and gentle words made the expression on Lung Fenghua's face ease up quite a bit. He hugged Yi Qingqian's waist tightly as he walked past the both of them, walking towards the front. A group of mercenaries followed closely behind, and when they passed by Yi Qing Luo, they even made a driving gesture. Go, hurry up and leave. Don't disturb us." The group of people entered the 5th level in a grandiose manner. Chapter 222. DMO Xian's pair of bewitching peach blossom eyes squinted slightly as he stared at Yi Qing Luo for some time before his thin lips curled upwards. How could I refuse a Luo's invitation? Yi Qing Luo's eyes curved as she smiled. A crafty and black-bellied mysterious smile flowed beneath her eyes. The reason why Lung Fenghua would bring such a large group of people to the magic beast forest and march towards the 5th level was obviously for the magic crystal stones. If just when they had painstakingly killed a phantom beast and finally obtained a magic crystal stone, yet it had been snatched away by someone else, how devastating would that be? Immediately, Yi Qing Luo no longer hesitated as she stepped into the 5th level. Lung Fenghua and Yi Qingjian had already given her a reason to continue taking risks. You are a woman suited to a life of adventure. It's good to have feelings in one's heart. Beside her ear, the man's low and hoarse voice rang out. It was as light as a breeze, falling into her eardrums. If this feeling can make you want to protect them and make you want to become stronger, then this is a motivation. But if this feeling causes you to stop moving forward, then you should think about it carefully. Do the people in your heart want you to stop moving forward? Luo, the you I know is not afraid of any difficulties or obstacles. You work hard to achieve your goals. This is why I admire you. I hope you don't lose this uniqueness that belongs to you. Yi Qing Luo stopped in her tracks, her long eyelashes fluttered like butterfly wings. She raised her eyes and looked at Dmo Xian. The smile on the man's face was still there. At this moment, Yi Qing Luo's state of mind had undergone an earth-shattering transformation. Deep in her bones, she still had the hot-bloodedness of an adventurer. She loved adventures and battles. She loved the feeling of gradually becoming stronger in the process of killing. However, after experiencing a life and death situation, he had never felt familial love and friendship before. This made her unable to adapt and deal with these emotions for a while. I understand. Yi Qing Luo's throat was dry, and after a long while, she spat out a sentence. Thank you, Dmo Xian. Dmo Xian's words could be said to have opened his heart. For the Overlord to hang around her, other than the fact that she had something that Dmo Xian needed, there was an even bigger reason. It was because she was different from the current generation of women, which attracted him. These words were enough. Since she believed in Dmo Xian and came to the magical beast forest, she should also try to hand over everything to Dmo Xian. The magical beasts on the 5th level were more concentrated. Furthermore, every single one of them was at least a high-ranked magical beast. Occasionally, a few mirage beasts could be seen. Although Lung Fenghua and the others were a large group of mercenaries, they still carefully avoided the groups of magical beasts and phantom beasts. Their goal was obviously to find a single low-level mirage beast. Before finding the target, it was best to avoid fighting with other difficult magical beasts and save some energy to deal with low-level magical beasts. Yi Qing Luo and the other man hid in the dark, observing the actions of Lung Fenghua and the others. Walking all the way to the middle of the 5th level, a group of people finally caught a low-level phantom beast. Lung Fenghua's face was filled with joy as he pulled Yi Qing Qian back into the mercenary group and commanded, "Go!" After successfully killing him, this prince will reward you with 500 gold coins. 500. This number caused the mercenaries in the mercenary group to rub their palms together. Initially, when they accepted the mission, Lung Fenghua offered 300 gold coins, which was enough to make them excited. They didn't expect that he would directly increase it by 200 gold coins. Chapter 223. The low-level mirage beast was entirely black, with shiny black fur, strong limbs, slightly arched lower body, a pair of brown sharp beast eyes, vigilantly watching the surroundings. That mirage beast was a leopard-type mirage beast, about the size of 2 giant tigers. Apparently, it had sensed the threatening atmosphere around it. The perception of a magical beast was hundreds of times higher than a human's. The mirage beast was even more vigilant, sensing the strange atmosphere from afar. Its entire body was stretched straight in a defensive posture. Get into formation, the mercenaries in front attack from the left and right go. Once mercenary Tuan gave the order, more than 40 mercenaries pounced forward. Roar! The low-level mirage beast's huge body leaped backward, avoiding the mercenaries' attack, and let out a sharp roar. Finish it quickly. Its cry will attract other mirage beasts. The leader's face was cold, decisively commanding another team to rush forward, to block the mirage beast's mouth. The power of a mirage beast was enough to match 2 Earth profound cultivators, even if it was a low-level mirage beast. But this leopard-type mirage beast was obviously a battle-type mirage beast. Despite its huge body, It was as agile as a monkey, dodging the attacks of the mercenaries one after another. While avoiding the attacks, it opened its huge mouth. Its sharp fangs mercilessly bit on the mercenaries' shoulders, and immediately lifted its huge leopard claws, trampling down fiercely. Several mystic, profound cultivators were bitten by the leopard-type mirage beast, bleeding profusely, screaming endlessly. Human blood stimulated the mirage beast's sense of smell. The pair of sharp, beastly eyes suddenly flashed, its claws pouncing even faster and more ruthlessly. In the dark, Yi Qing Luo turned to look at the man beside her. "Do you think this team of mercenaries can tame this mirage beast? If they can, what are you going to do?" DMO Xian raised his eyebrows and asked, "What would he do?" Yi Qing Luo's vision returned to the agile, leopard-type mirage beast. That black, leopard-type mirage beast constantly changed its position, and at the most appropriate time, attacked the mercenaries. One by one, the mercenaries fell. On the other hand, it had only suffered some superficial injuries. If this magical beast were to be killed and Lung Fenghua took out its magic crystal, it would indeed be somewhat unbearable to watch it get killed. Luo is a kind-hearted girl. DMO Xian's big hand covered Yi Qing Luo's head. His long and narrow eyebrows were curved, and the corners of his mouth held a gentle smile. Kind-hearted? This was the first time someone had used these words to praise her. She knew that she was not a kind person. Everything he did was just following his heart. Unexpectedly, the leopard-type mirage beast that she admired a little, in DMO Xian's eyes, turned out to be kind-hearted. Yi Qing Luo laughed lightly. "In that case, you also suggest me to make a move?" DMO Xian gave an enigmatic smile. That smile, Yi Qing Luo couldn't understand it. After a moment of silence, DMO Xian's thin lips moved slightly as he faintly said, "He's here." Just as he finished speaking, the entire magical beast forest suddenly shook and the mountains shook. Immediately, a few deafening roars were heard, and the ground shook even more violently. The originally empty magical beast forest, with only one low-level mirage beast, suddenly a large number of magical beasts and mirage beasts swarmed out. Those magical beasts and mirage beast size, some were taller than a tree, and some were so huge that it was shocking. One by one, they were madly trampling on the ground, making a loud roar. Those mercenary groups were scared silly by this lineup. Chapter 224. Your Highness, what's going on? Yi Qing Qian was so shocked that her beautiful face turned pale. Both her hands tightly hugged Lung Fenghua. Even Lung Fenghua was so shocked that his face turned pale. He wanted to run, but the woman in his arms held him tightly. "It's a beast tide. It's actually a beast tide." The mercenary group leader stared at the group of beasts in disbelief. "Leave quickly." Immediately, the leader leaped up and came to Lung Fenghua's side. Both hands carried the two stupefied employers and quickly moved to the side of the big tree. This team of mercenaries were well trained. After the leader's command, they immediately made the corresponding judgment. One by one, they quickly retreated and scattered in all directions. Silver Plate Mercenary Group. Their reaction is really good. DMO Xian stared at Lung Fenghua, who was hiding on the opposite branch, who was rescued by the leader. Mercenary groups were also divided into different classes. The Mercenary Association divided the mercenary groups into bronze, silver, and gold plate mercenary groups according to the overall strength of the group. Yi Qing Luo did not expect that this team of people would turn out to be a silver plate mercenary group. Yi Qing Luo thought that a mercenary group that was toyed with by a low-level mirage beast would at most be a bronze plate mercenary group. But these mercenaries in the face of the beast tide behaved in an orderly manner, completely different from the helpless look earlier. Yi Qing Luo's eyes roamed around the group of beasts, trying to find the trace of the leopard mirage beast. That large wave of beasts trampled over the place where the mercenaries stood and rushed forward. Everywhere he went, the lush trees were sent flying, and the ground trembled from his stomps. Countless cracks appeared on the ground. That leopard mirage beast was so clever. It shouldn't be crushed by this group of beasts, right? Soon, Yiqing Luo found that leopard mirage beast, because that leopard mirage beast ran in a completely different direction from the group of beasts that kept rushing forward. It quickly ran to the back of the group, its head twisted, and its sharp eyes looked around. That pair of eyes revealed a sense of anxiety. Suddenly, it stopped running, as if it had seen something in the herd of beasts. It immediately rushed forward and ran to its destination. Soon after, like the herd of beasts, it began to run forward without stopping. Yiqing Luo could see it very clearly. The leopard-type phantom beast was looking for a group of leopard-type phantom beasts. Obviously, they were its family. Those leopard-type mirage beasts were as huge as mountains. With one look, one could tell that they were definitely high-level mirage beasts. Originally, he thought that the low-level leopard-type phantom beast was already big enough. He didn't expect that these high-level phantom beasts of the same species were actually several times bigger. The family members of this small mirage beast were all high-level mirage beasts. Just now it roared so loudly during the fight, but these high-level mirage beasts actually didn't come. The small magical beast followed the speed of the other magical beasts, and its mouth kept opening and roaring. However, the few high-level magical beasts around it did not even look at it. After running for a while, one of the high-level phantom beasts seemed to be annoyed by it. It suddenly turned its head and growled at the little phantom beast. The body of the high-level mirage beast collided with the small mirage beast. These illusionary beasts were several times the size of the small illusionary beasts. With this collision, the small illusionary beast simply could not stand steadily. Its four limbs staggered and rolled on the ground. There was still a large wave of beasts behind it, and they did not stop running. One by one, they seemed to not see the small mirage beast and directly stepped on it. The small mirage beast dodged in a hurry, but was still stepped on and let out a mournful cry. Chapter 225. That low-level mirage beast is injured. Now, Lung Fenghua, who was standing on the branch with Yiqing Qian in his arms, stared greedily at the little mirage beast howling on the ground. The heavens were probably helping him in this beast tide. The little mirage beast, which had been injured by several people, was now trampled by its own kind. The little mirage beast with an injured leg could not escape from their palms. Below, the beast tide was still going on. The mercenary group leader frowned and stared at the group of beasts with a solemn face. As a mercenary group, he would check the situation clearly before taking on the mission. It was reasonable to say that there would be no beast tide in the magic beast forest today. The formation of this beast tide was not simple. Your Highness wants you to kill that low-level mirage beast now. Do you not want to complete the mission? Seeing that the leader was not paying attention to him, Lung Fenghua roared with a gloomy face. The leader frowned. Your Highness, this beast tide is very strange. If we go down rashly, I'm afraid— What's strange? You don't know how to grasp such a great opportunity. If that low-level mirage beast runs away, Your Highness will kill you. Lung Fenghua interrupted the leader's words. His eyes were fixed on the low-level mirage beast, which was limping to the side and staring at the group of beasts. In his mind, he had rehearsed the scene of killing this low-level mirage beast countless times. As long as he killed this low-level mirage beast, he would be able to get its magic crystal. The royal family was getting more and more despicable because of the age of the monarch. He was the eldest son of the emperor and also the most talented among the princes. Therefore, he was given high hopes since he was young. He thought that he would be the first among the princes to advance to the earth profound realm. Unexpectedly, he was stuck in the mystic profound 9th grade realm. This had made him extremely depressed. But as his future crown princess, Yi Qing Luo was doing very well. Admitted to the Heavenly Academy, famous in Three Spring City, and even so intimate with the Overlord. When everyone mentioned Yi Qing Luo, they would not think of him, the crown prince, but the Overlord. This was simply putting a green hat on his head, and he could only accept it obediently. The unwillingness of stagnating and the rage of being betrayed by Yi Qing Luo had stimulated Lung Fenghua to immediately advance to the earth's profound grade, so that he could sweep away the humiliation in front of Yi Qing Luo. As long as he could obtain a magic crystal, he would have a chance to break through. The leader gritted his teeth, called his mercenaries, and leaped down. The horde of beasts surged forward one after another, showing no signs of stopping. The entire magical beast forest was shaking. The trees were smashed into pieces and fell to the ground, kicking up a storm of sand. As far as the eye could see, there were at least 1,000 of them densely packed together. The mercenaries felt their scalps go numb. They held their weapons and were a little timid. If it was just one or two magical beasts or illusionary beasts, they could still brace themselves to deal with them. But a large group, thousands of magical beasts and illusionary beasts. Fortunately, the magical beasts and illusionary beasts were charging forward in waves. They did not notice the few nobodies beside them at all. Dozens of mercenaries groped their way towards the direction of the little mirage beast. And that little mirage beast, which had keen senses, did not seem to notice the mercenaries approaching. It lay on the ground, looking at the wave after wave of beasts, letting out a low whimper. Its huge tail swayed a few times from time to time. That pair of beast eyes was covered with a layer of gray. Chapter 226. Such a look reminded Yi Qing Luo of her past self a long time ago. It was the same, standing on the street every day, hoping that her father would turn back and take her away from those old men. But the initial expectation turned into despair. She never saw the man whom she called her father, but was a stranger to her. The little mirage beast at this time was just like her at that time. In her heart, there was an inexplicable emotion boiling, driving her to do something. At this time, dozens of mercenaries had approached the little mirage beast. The leader first approached and saw that the little mirage beast was in a trance, totally not noticing them. His face turned solemn and commanded in a deep voice, "Release all profound grade. Kill it in one fell swoop." Dozens of mercenaries understood. One by one, profound chi broke out of their bodies, raised their weapons, and attacked the direction of the little mirage beast. Suddenly, a whirlwind blew past. Soon after, a red shadow that was like a blazing sun flashed past his eyes. Boom, boom, boom. The ground around the little mirage beast was scratched with several cracks in the air. As the ground sank, the little mirage beast suddenly regained its senses. Even though one of its legs was injured, it still stood up nimbly and quickly leaped. The ground where it stood just now suddenly collapsed. The mirage beast in their hands just flew away like that. Dozens of mercenaries all stared with their eyes wide open. They only saw that the red shadow that alarmed the little mirage beast turned into a whirlwind and spun back to a tree. A fair little hand firmly caught that red shadow. Everyone then saw clearly that was actually a red fan. A fan? Could it split the ground? Make the ground sink? Who is it? The leader was shocked, vigilantly looking in the direction of Yi Qing Luo. He was shocked someone was following behind them, and they actually didn't notice. Who exactly was it? Under everyone's shocked gaze, they saw a woman in a plain white dress covered with red muslin, leaping down from the branch. Following the woman's movement, the white dress, like a blooming white lotus, floated lightly. The woman stood steadily in front of the little mirage beast, her posture outstanding. Everyone's gazes converged on her in unison. Immediately, another figure jumped down from the branch and landed beside Yi Qing Luo. His black hair fluttered on his shoulders. His loose white robe was slightly open at his chest, revealing a bit of his muscular skin. He looked extremely lazy. "It's you guys." The leader narrowed his eyes. Weren't these two the couple he had seen at the edge of the 5th level? Clearly, it looked ordinary, without the slightest bit of advantage. He didn't expect them to be two unworldly experts. "It's you guys again." Lung Fenghua frowned, his eyes filled with malice. Just now, it was this woman who had disturbed the low-level mirage beast. Otherwise, the mercenary group would have succeeded. The dozens of mercenaries were also burning with anger. Just a little bit more, and they would have been able to exchange this little mirage beast for 500 gold coins. The leader opened his arms and stopped the restless mercenaries. He looked at the two of them warily. They dared to come to the inner part of the 5th line with just the two of them. If they didn't have absolute strength, they wouldn't dare to take such a risk. "Why did the two of you make a move?" After a moment of silence, the leader asked. Yi Qing Luo raised her eyebrows and smiled. The feather fan in her hand covered half of her face. "This little thing, we want it." The blunt words made Lung Fenghua's chest surge with anger. Chapter 227. What a coincidence! I don't have the habit of giving away the things I like to others. Yi Qing Luo's pink lips rose slightly. Her long and narrow eyes were curved, glistening. It was totally different from that extremely ordinary face. Staring at that pair of eyes, Lung Fenghua felt a chill in his heart. Why did it feel a little familiar? Yi Qing Luo waved her feather fan, leisurely turned her head, and looked at the leopard-type mirage beast that was standing not far behind, staring at them vigilantly, revealing an amiable smile. Are you willing to leave with me?" The little mirage beast's fur stood up. Its beast eyes became even sharper. Its mouth kept emitting a roar warning growl. "How dare you? Do you know who you are talking to?" Yi Qingqian reprimanded and walked quickly to Lung Fenghua's side. "This is the current crown prince. You two commoners. How dare you compete with the crown prince for the mirage beast? What crime do you deserve?" Yi Qingqian's face was sullen. Her gentle eyes were also covered with solemnity. Lung Fenghua puffed out his chest under Yi Qingqian's imposing words, both hands behind his back, displaying the posture of the crown prince. After getting used to seeing Yi Qingqian's gentle and pleasant look, suddenly seeing her acting like a motherly model, it was a different feeling. Lung Fenghua stared at Yi Qingqian's gaze, revealing some meaning. "Crown prince." Yi Qing Luo sneered disapprovingly. "So what? As long as it's something I want. Even if the emperor comes, I will not give it up." This indifferent attitude made Lung Fenghua, who was used to being flattered, suddenly turn gloomy. Yi Qing Luo even smiled at him provocatively. "Refusing a toast only to drink a forfeit. This prince wants to see just how great your ability is." Lung Fenghua clenched his 5 fingers, suddenly opened up and released a palm wind, sweeping towards Yi Qing Luo's direction. That palm wind, the imposing manner, was like a rainbow rapidly approaching. The mystic, profound 9th grade realm was indeed different from those low-level cultivators. This imposing manner set off a powerful fluctuation, like a sharp blade, piercing through the air, directly into one's skin. Yi Qing Luo's pink lips curved slightly, didn't dodge. The feather fan on her fingertips rotated a few times, sweeping a sunset afterimage, colliding with that palm wind. Rumble. A huge collision. Sound exploded in the air. 2 majestic waves of profound qi surged in the air like the eruption of primordial power. One wave after another, they rolled in the air. Bang! It exploded. The ground, which was already cracked and sunken, was blasted into a huge crater. The magical beast forest was shaken once more. You can actually take my palm." Lung Fenghua stared at Yi Qing Luo in disbelief. His chest kept heaving up and down as his eyes shot out a vicious look. He was about to step into the earth profound realm, and his current strength was above most of the 9th grade mystic profound realm practitioners. This woman actually managed to block his palm strike? Yi Qing Luo sneered. Just as he was about to turn around and approach the small illusory beast, his waist suddenly tightened. The man held her waist domineeringly and said in a low voice, "Your task today is not him." Following that, Yi Qing Luo felt her body turning light. The man had already picked her up. The little mirage beast was stunned for a moment before it leapt up and followed behind Dmo Xian. Before Lung Fenghua and the rest understood what had happened, they suddenly heard a burst of chaotic footsteps coming from behind them, only to see that the group of beasts that were constantly rushing forward seemed to have received a great stimulation. One by one, they stopped their collective rush forward. Instead, they ran around, rampaging through the entire magical beast forest. Chapter 228. Yi Qingqian's little face turned pale and subconsciously hid in Lung Fenghua's arms. No matter how talented she was, she still had the temperament of a little girl after all. She was afraid that Lung Fenghua would misunderstand her as a coward, so she stuttered, "Quick! Protect His Highness." The leader immediately retreated to Lung Fenghua's side and raised the axe in his hand to fight against the magical beasts and mirage beasts. "Your Highness, let's go!" Wave after wave of magical beasts and mirage beasts. Even if the gold medal mercenary group came, they wouldn't be able to handle it. Several mercenaries didn't even have the ability to resist and were torn apart by those magical beasts. The leader's face was gloomy. He fiercely suppressed his desire to avenge his brothers and protected Lung Fenghua and Yi Qingqian as they left the beast tide. For mercenaries, the first priority was always the employer. Looking at the chaotic and bloody scene below, Yi Qing Luo and Dmo Xian stood on a branch not far away and scathed. The little mirage beast stood not far behind them, separated by a safe distance. Its injured leg was trembling. Dmo Xian seemed to have already calculated the range and distance. The position he chose was just right. It was not far from the beast tide and just happened to avoid the attack of the beasts. "Beast tide, you are the one who caused it." Yi Qing Luo raised her eyebrows and looked at the handsome face of the man next to her. This was an affirmative sentence, not a question. Dmo Xian brought her to the magic beast forest to use this beast tide to stimulate her breakthrough. In adversity, the line between life and death was the real opportunity to break through. No wonder from the beginning. Dmo Xian's goal was set on the 5th level. Yi Qing Luo was very curious about what method he used to make all the magical beasts in the 5th level into a beast tide. Dmo Xian's big palm covered Yi Qing Luo's head, his long arm around her waist, and pulled her into his arms without any explanation. The elegant sandalwood fragrance seeped into the nose, suffused with an intoxicating feeling. "Plans can't keep up with changes. I didn't expect to meet them." Dmo Xian's low hoarse voice, like mellow wine, rang in her ears. In other words, he had already tacitly admitted that he was the culprit of this beast tide. It's good that we met to be able to watch a good show. It's not bad to be able to enjoy it. Yi Qing Luo chuckled. If it wasn't for the fact that they met this heart-wrenching little mirage beast, Yi Qing Luo was prepared to wait for them to finish killing the mirage beast before snatching the magic crystal. Not only could he cause trouble for Lung Fenghua, but he could also benefit from it. Meeting Lung Fenghua and the others was not too bad. Below, Lung Fenghua, who was dodging in a sorry state, almost spat out blood when he saw the two of them standing on a tree branch and flirting with each other. "Go to them. Since you want to use the beast tide to kill me, I will give you a taste of your own medicine." Lung Fenghua gritted his teeth as he gave a cold snort, pulling Yi Qingqian's hand. His feet moved like the wind as he led a wave of beasts towards Yi Qing Luo's direction. Rumbling sounds resounded throughout the entire magical beast forest. The ground caved in and the mountains shook. "You've become smart." Yi Qing Luo's brows rose slightly, The feather fan in her hand twirled around her fingertips. Her lips curled into a bloodthirsty smile. DMO Xian, I'll head down first. But DMO Xian's arm didn't loosen. Yi Qing Luo looked at DMO Xian in puzzlement and met with his pair of sparkling, peach blossom eyes. The man's face was filled with a sense of ridicule, the corners of his mouth slightly hooked, stirring one's heart. Call me Ah Xian. Yi Qing Luo's heart thumped, skipped a few beats. Her bright eyes stared blankly at DMO Xian's evildoer face, her cheeks flushed red. Ah Xian, Chapter 229. If you don't call me, I won't let go. DMO Xian's eyes gleamed with a crafty glint as his 5 fingers clasped her waist tightly. Rogue, rascal. Yi Qing Luo gritted her teeth in embarrassment and pushed DMO Xian's chest. Stop fooling around. I'm not messing around. DMO Xian's obsidian black eyes gazed deeply at Yi Qing Luo. You can try how serious I am. His long arm exerted a little force, and Yi Qing Luo's delicate body fell into DMO Xian's arms. He hugged her tightly in his arms, and her limbs were bound so tightly that she could not move. Ah, West. All right. In Yi Qing Luo's heart, it was as though 10,000 grass mud horses were whizzing past. He was on the verge of collapse. She saw how serious he was. Yi Qing Luo's face turned black as she gritted her teeth and squeezed out 2 words. Ah, Xian. The man released his hands in satisfaction, his eyebrows full of a satisfied smile. Yi Qing Luo's face sunk as she hopped down the tree branch in a flurry. Amen, since she was unable to vent her anger at DMO Xian. She might as well vent it on this group of magical beasts. Yi Qing Luo's 5 fingers moved as the feather fan in her hand refracted a cold ray of light. Moving his feet, he turned into an afterimage and rushed into the midst of the magical beasts and illusionary beasts. Is she looking for death? Yi Qing Jian saw Yi Qing Luo's bold move, and her eyes revealed a trace of ruthlessness. The magical beasts on the 5th level were all high-level magical beasts and phantom beasts. Just one of them was already difficult to deal with. The woman charged straight into the horde of beasts. Did he really think that he was an otherworldly expert? Even an otherworldly expert would not be able to deal with a large wave of magical beasts at once. If she wants to die, then let her go. Lung Feng Hua snorted disdainfully, after leading a wave of magical beasts to the tree branch where DMO Xian was standing. He let go of Yi Qing Qian, and with a leap, he speedily jumped onto another big tree. Yi Qing Qian's expression sunk. She did not expect that Lung Feng Hua would abandon her at this time. A wave of resentment and unwillingness rose from the bottom of his heart, but he was unwilling to complain. Those magical beasts were huge, and they slammed into him. No matter how fast Yi Qing Qian's reaction was, she was still hit by the magical beast right in front. His 5 viscera and 6 bowels felt like they were being torn apart. She quickly used her profound qi to escape from the eyes of the magical beasts and returned to Lung Feng Hua's side. This time round, Yi Qing Qian didn't dare to hand herself into Lung Feng Hua's hands. She would rather escape on her own than let Lung Feng Hua become a target. Your Highness! Just as he was about to open his mouth and call out to Lung Feng Hua to ease the awkward atmosphere between the two of them, Lung Feng Hua's eyes were dull as he stared blankly in front of him. Yi Qing Qian also followed his gaze and looked over. The expression on her face, her mouth opened into an O shape. His jaw almost dropped to the ground. There was a strong smell of blood in the air. Amidst the herd of beasts, a white figure darted about like a bolt of lightning. The feather fan in his hand seemed to have a soul of its own, circulating among the countless demonic beasts. The corpses of the gigantic magical beasts were strewn all over the ground. Her speed was so fast that it was shocking. Her footwork was so strange that no one could understand it. Everyone could only see the white figure moving at high speed, accurately dodging the attacks of the demonic beasts tearing and trampling attacks. While avoiding, she decisively released the feather fan in her hand, harvesting one magical beast after another. Was this really a high-leveled magical beast that they could not lay their hands on? Why was it like chopping cabbage in front of this lady? This was the disparity in strength? No. Impossible. Who is she? Lung Fenghua stared at Yi Qingluo in horror. What kind of footwork is this? In the world of martial arts, only speed could not be defeated. Speed was the best magic weapon to win. If a high-leveled cultivator looked closely, he would be able to see it. The woman in front of him was able to harvest magical beasts one after another, and the biggest reason was because of her strange footwork. Chapter 230. Accurately knowing the frequency and direction of the magical beast's attacks, avoiding them at the most appropriate time and making the most appropriate counterattack. Facing thousands of high-level magical beasts and various levels of mirage beasts, if they were in her shoes, they would never be able to remain so calm. Looking at the white-robed man on the treetop, standing against the wind, with a faint smile on his face, a pair of narrow and charming eyes staring intently at Yi Qingluo's direction without blinking. His ordinary face at this moment revealed a somewhat unfathomable feeling. Lung Fenghua had an intuition that this man, compared to the woman who was fighting among the magical beasts, was even more terrifying. If he were to make a move, what would the scene be like? What is that? Suddenly, the mercenaries pointed to the front and shouted. Everyone looked over there and saw a small palm-sized kitten suddenly sprang out from the woman's body, as fast as lightning, swimming among the magical beasts. It picked up all the magic cores in the magical beasts' heads and put them into a small brocade pouch on its back. The woman was fighting in front, while the kitten followed behind to pick up the magic cores. When a magic crystal full of magical beast energy was put into the small brocade pouch, Lung Fenghua and those mercenaries, one by one, took a cold breath and then came back to their senses. Among the magical beasts on the 5th level, most of them were intermediate and high-level magical beasts. A high-level magical beast was equivalent to an earth mystic cultivator. This woman chopped these magical beasts like cabbages. Even mirage beasts died under her hands. Thinking back to earlier, they had lost a few lives to deal with a low-level mirage beast, but still couldn't hurt the low-level mirage beast at all. All of them had internal injuries. That was way too exciting, wasn't it? Go kill the magical beasts. The leader was the first to react, and immediately called the remaining mercenaries to join the battle. Watching Yi Qingluo pick up the magic cores and also a magic crystal. These mercenaries, the purpose of coming here, was to find a magic crystal for Lung Fenghua. If it wasn't for the money, they would not step into this dangerous place. Seeing Yi Qingluo easily obtain a large number of magic cores and a magic crystal, they immediately wanted to profit from it. There were less than 30 people left in the mercenary group. Under the command of the leader, they quickly joined the battle. Boom, 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 the sounds of battle between magical beasts and profound practitioners rose and fell, and it resounded throughout the entire magical beast forest. That lady. Why does she look so familiar? Lung Fenghua's gaze was fixated on Yi Qingluo. The more he looked, the more he felt that this figure, this aura, this gaze, all of them were extremely familiar. But for a moment, he couldn't recall who it was. When Yi Qingqian heard that, her body suddenly stiffened. Her face, which was trying hard to put on a gentle expression, was a little stiff. She slowed down her breathing and suppressed the panic in her heart. No, it can't be. How could His Highness be familiar with such an ordinary-looking woman? That's true. Even if I've seen it before, this face would not be able to leave a single mark in my heart. Lung Fenghua sighed slightly. If he had seen her before, he would have known that she was such a powerful expert. He should have brought her into his force long ago and let her fight for the position of the monarch. Seeing that Lung Fenghua had stopped guessing, Yi Qingqian heaved a sigh of relief. A pair of venomous eyes glared viciously at the woman who was wandering among the beasts. Lung Fenghua couldn't recognize her, but she could. This figure, this pair of eyes, this arrogant and condescending arrogance. Other than Yi Qing Luo, that little slut, who else could it be? Chapter 231. The beast tide was turbulent, wave after wave, with no signs of stopping. Those 30 mercenaries were able to join the Silver Plate mercenary group. Their own strength and understanding were not bad. Moreover, they had been fighting for many years. Their tacit understanding was quite high. When they saw Yi Qing Luo using her footwork and speed to play around with the beasts, they learned and applied what they learned. Soon, they adjusted the rhythm of dealing with the magical beasts and could actually work together to kill one magical beast after another. The leader heaved a sigh of relief. His gaze was complicated as he looked at Yi Qing Luo, who had stopped and stood motionless on the side. Unexpectedly, he had led the mercenary group to live in the magic beast forest for 5 or 6 years. But it was only today that he found a way to deal with the magical beasts from an unfamiliar woman. How could he endure this? From the bottom of his heart, he was filled with admiration for the seemingly ordinary, but actually extraordinary woman. Bitch! Those magic cores were killed by the mercenary group we hired. What right do you have to pick them up? Suddenly, a sharp voice came from the treetops. Yi Qing Qian showed a displeased expression and pointed angrily at Yi Qing Luo. After shouting, Yi Qing Qian realized that she had lost control of her emotions and ruined the gentle and generous image that she had carefully created. She hurriedly pinched her throat, grabbed Lung Fenghua's sleeves, and said to the mercenary group, "His Highness hired you. Any spoils of war that you kill should belong to His Highness." Everyone then realized that Yi Qing Luo had stopped killing the magical beasts. Instead, she was leisurely, together with her kitten, picked up pieces of magic cores from the heads of the magical beasts and put them into the brocade bag. This action made Lung Fenghua's face turn green. Yi Qing Luo weighed the magic core in her hand and threw it into the air. She immediately caught it and raised her pink lips slightly. "Why?" "Because without me, you will all die here today." Ah! The mercenary group and the others had no words to refute. Indeed, if it wasn't for Yi Qing Luo, they would most likely not be able to escape this increasingly turbulent beast tide. However, Yi Qing Qian recognized Yi Qing Luo, new hatred and old hatred mixed together. She was jealous of Yi Qing Luo and hated her at the same time. This little bitch, the last time she saw her, she was clearly in the yellow profound realm. But she could actually fight wave after wave of intermediate and high-level magical beasts, and she could even take the opportunity to kill magical beasts. This combat strength was even stronger than Lung Fenghua, a 9th-grade mystic profound realm practitioner. At this moment, Yi Qing Qian naturally wasn't willing to let Yi Qing Luo have it easy. Since the magical beasts were killed by everyone, then the magical beast cores should be divided together. Moreover, we clearly have the most people, so our damage output is naturally higher. Saying that, Yi Qing Qian took Lung Fenghua's arm. "Your Highness is the crown prince. All the spoils of war should be left with your Highness. After the magical beasts are eliminated, then we can divide it equally." When Yi Qing Luo heard that, she couldn't help but burst out laughing. This time, she saw with her own eyes what it meant to lie through one's teeth. If you want the magic core, use your strength to speak. Yi Qing Luo hooked her finger at Yi Qing Qian, as if she was ordering a pet. This provocative action and attitude made Yi Qing Jian's face turn black. Both sides knew each other's background. Yi Qing Qian wasn't stupid, although her profound grade was above Yi Qing Luo. But Yi Qing Luo's set of strange footwork and breathtaking, imposing manner, she couldn't resist at all. If she really fought with Yi Qing Luo, the one who would lose face in the end would definitely be herself. But before she could think about how to reject Yi Qing Luo's provocation, while still preserving her face, suddenly a figure stood in front of her. a black robe wrapped around his strong and tall body, the broad back reflected in Yi Qingqian's eyes. It was Lung Fenghua. Chapter 232. As soon as he finished his words, Lung Fenghua flipped his palm and a huge ball of light emerged from his palm. His eyes exuded a strong murderous aura as he quickly condensed the ball of light from his profound qi towards Yi Qingluo's direction. That ball of light was as fast as lightning, leaving only an afterimage. The profound grade of the mystic profound 9th grade was indeed extraordinary. The momentum was like a rainbow, like a shocking giant wave, the waves superimposed. This was the power of a high-level cultivator. Sure enough, as the rumor said, Your Highness is a genius in cultivating profound skills. Yi Qingluo was not afraid at all as she laughed teasingly, although her words were compliments, but her eyes were full of ridicule. She quickly stepped back, opened the feather fan on her fingertips, and injected profound qi into the feather fan. As the feather fan waved, a flame dragon appeared, bearing its fangs and brandishing its claws, swallowing and spitting flames, directly collided with that ball of light. Bang! A loud bang, the fire dragon and the ball of light intertwined. The two profound qi collided, the surrounding air exploded, and the entire ground was plunged into an earthquake. The light shone. Yi Qingluo's charming eyes were flowing with a cold glint, set off by that ordinary face, especially dazzling. The surrounding wind raged, sand and gravel flew everywhere. Under the gale, Yi Qingluo was dressed in a plain white robe, the red chiffon fluttering in the wind like a blooming lotus. Just when everyone thought that these two profound qi were evenly matched, that ball of light suddenly burst into light, and Yi Qingluo's fire dragon directly pressed back. Obviously, this woman's profound grade was below Lung Fenghua. Lower than Lung Fenghua? That also meant that this woman's profound grade was below mystic profound 9th grade. The mercenaries' faces were filled with disbelief. In the mercenary group, all of them were in the mystic profound realm. However, 40 over of them to deal with a low-level mirage beast, they were already battered and exhausted, and more than 10 of their brothers had died. But this woman relied on her own strength to hunt wave after wave of magical beasts. No matter how strange that set of strange footwork was, without absolute strength, there was absolutely no way to easily hunt magical beasts. If it wasn't for Lung Fenghua's profound qi, which forced Yi Qingluo to retreat, they would have thought that this was some otherworldly expert. Some even guessed that Yi Qingluo was a sky mystic supreme. Unexpectedly, Yi Qingluo's profound grade was actually lower than Lung Fenghua. This was true power. The mercenaries who were fighting against the magical beasts were shocked and distracted, allowing the magical beasts to take the opportunity to counterattack. They immediately calmed themselves down and readjusted their rhythm to deal with the next wave of beasts. Yi Qingluo narrowed her eyes, and just as the light ball was about to be pushed back, a thought flashed through her mind. Teleportation! In the blink of an eye, Yi Qingluo's figure appeared 100 meters away. She raised her feather fan, and the bewitching red light flickered. The airflow surged, and once again formed a fire dragon. When Lung Fenghua saw this, a disdainful sneer appeared on his face. After knowing that Yi Qingluo's profound grade was below his, Lung Fenghua's heart was filled with pride. Towards Yi Qingluo's attack of profound qi, he totally disregarded it. He scoffed lightly as he leapt upwards, meeting that burst of profound qi as both his palms struck downwards, directly attacking Yi Qingluo's face. But when he collided with that burst of profound qi, his expression suddenly changed. That fire dragon suddenly turned into a ball of spiral, tightly entangling Lung Fenghua within it. Yi Qingluo's feather fan folded up, and a strong airflow was released from her feet. Her figure flashed, and in the blink of an eye, she had already appeared in front of Lung Fenghua. Chapter 233. This speed. It was so fast that the naked eye almost couldn't catch it. Her profound grade was obviously lower than his. So how could her speed be so fast? Earlier, when Yi Qing Luo's profound qi was suppressed, Yi Qing Luo also disappeared in a blink of an eye. He didn't sense any profound qi fluctuation at all. This woman, other than her strange footwork, she must have some other magical weapon to increase her speed. Lung Fenghua was shocked. He nimbly somersaulted back and quickly retreated a few steps. Immediately, profound qi was injected into both palms, and another palm strike was launched. The palm wind whistled, bringing along a whirlwind. Yi Qing Luo waved her feather fan and easily avoided it, but Lung Fenghua's figure was nowhere to be seen. Yi Qing Luo's watery eyes squinted slightly and released her perception to the maximum range, searching for Lung Fenghua's presence. Although the surrounding trees had been destroyed by the beasts, but it was still a forest. It was very easy for him to hide. Lung Fenghua was able to become the crown prince. His strength was naturally not weak, and his ability to adapt was also extremely strong. He was very clear that there was absolutely no chance of winning against Yi Qing Luo in terms of speed. It was better to strike from the dark. Yi Qing Luo vigilantly sensed everything around her. The opponent was a mystic, profound, 9th grade cultivator. Even if she relied on her footwork and teleportation, she didn't dare to be too insolent. After all, between a profound grade, there was a difference of 108,000 miles. Her ears suddenly twitched. She quickly turned sideways and turned her head to look. Behind him, an extremely sharp Xian Qi transformed into a giant dragon with its head held high. That huge dragon hovered in the sky, opened its mouth, and wanted to swallow Yi Qing Luo. The entire magical beast space had darkened. The sky had flashed with lightning, as if a storm was coming. Yi Qing Luo immediately squatted down and rolled sideways. That huge dragon pounced on empty air. There was a loud explosion. The entire ground was blasted out a huge black hole. Sand and stones flew, smoke and dust billowed. Vaguely, she saw a figure flickering, but she couldn't see it clearly. Yi Qing Luo's eyes sunk and her heart jumped. Damn it, not good. She fell into a trap. One palm to determine the universe, Dragon's Shadow Palm. As Lung Fenghua's palms turned over again, the corners of his mouth curled into a sly sneer. Amidst the hazy smoke and dust, only Lung Fenghua's hands could be seen in the air. It was impossible to see his movements at all. A wave of palm qi formed a huge palm print in midair. Like a huge wave, the surrounding ground rumbled and trembled as cracks appeared on it. Lightning flashed and thunder roared in the pitch-black sky. Lung Fenghua had calculated Yi Qing Luo's evasion speed and distance before he executed this fatal blow. Yi Qing Luo couldn't evade in time. She swiftly raised her feather fan and injected her profound energy into it, and then she constructed a red light barrier that was like a cocoon and enveloped herself within it. Just as the cocoon rose, the dragon's shadow palm had already covered the sky and the earth as it pressed down. This powerful energy seemed as though it was going to corrode her as it instantly tore apart Yi Qing Luo's protective shield. At the same time, Yi Qing Luo executed her teleportation once again. He appeared behind Lung Fenghua. She spun the feather fan in her hand, and a sharp blade appeared on the handle of the fan, which was pressed against Lung Fenghua's neck. Boom, boom, boom! Just as Yi Qing Luo was about to get close to Lung Fenghua, the ground suddenly boomed and caved in. Within a few meters around Lung Fenghua, the ground collapsed crazily. That exploded stone, all smashed onto Yi Qing Luo's chest. Uffed! A mouthful of blood spurted out from Yi Qing Luo's mouth. Chapter 234. Unexpectedly, Lung Fenghua actually controlled his palm energy so freely. Yi Qing Luo felt a fishy sweetness in her throat as she steadied herself. It's really you, Yi Qing Luo. Lung Fenghua's eyes were cold as he stared intently at Yi Qing Luo's face. Disguising yourself to appear in front of this highness, is it an attempt to attract my attention? Very good, you succeeded. The more he looked, the more Lung Fenghua felt that the woman in front of him was very familiar. Gradually, it overlapped with the petite figure in his mind. This was the reason why Lung Fenghua stood in front of Yi Qingjian and exchanged blows with Yi Qing Luo. Sure enough, he found it. Uffed. Yi Qing Luo spat. Do you have to be so narcissistic? Who the hell was trying to get his attention? She found it disgusting. Who is that man? Lung Fenghua's eyes were bloodshot as he turned his head towards Dmo Xian's direction. Dmo Xian stood proudly with his arms crossed over his chest. The fluttering white long robe actually looked so compatible with Yi Qing Luo's outfit. Lung Fenghua felt as if he had caught his own woman with his own eyes and made him wear a green hat. What has it got to do with you? Yi Qing Luo sneered as she wiped the blood off her lips. Suddenly he felt an inexplicable burning sensation in his heart. She covered her chest with her small, fair hands. Yi Qing Luo's forehead was dripping with cold sweat. Lung Fenghua only thought that Yi Qing Luo had admitted her affair with that man, and his eyes shot out an intense murderous intent as he raised his palm once again. Suddenly, a strong ray of light burst forth from Yi Qing Luo's body. That devilish red glow turned into a whirlwind, encircling Yi Qing Luo's surroundings. Lung Fenghua was forced to take a few steps back. His face was filled with shock, and his tall body trembled uncontrollably. No, impossible, actually, this was the sign of a breakthrough. Lung Fenghua naturally wouldn't foolishly assume that Yi Qing Luo was going to advance to the Earth Profound grade, not an Earth Xian. Was that the mystic Profound realm? In other words, before this, Yi Qing Luo's Profound grade had always been Yellow Profound 9th grade? Lung Fenghua's prideful self-esteem was severely stimulated. Yellow Profound 9th grade. He could actually fight wave after wave of magical beasts and illusory beasts. Yellow Profound 9th grade. He was a profound grade higher than Yi Qing Luo, yet he had to resort to trickery to hurt her. If Yi Qing Luo continued to grow, wouldn't it be? Lung Fenghua shuddered, not daring to think any further. Everyone's vision, including those magical beasts which were fighting crazily, all shifted onto Yi Qing Luo. In the light, a white figure gradually appeared. The coquettish red light stirred up a whirlwind that blew her hair, and her dress fluttered in the air. It was as if a fairy from the 9 heavens had descended into the world. The light around her body flickered one after another. Mystic Profound Grade 1. Mystic Profound 2nd grade. Mystic Profound 3rd grade. Everyone was horrified in their hearts, and gasps resounded one after another. In the end, the light flickered once more, and the fluctuation of the profound qi stopped at the 4th level of the profound mystic realm. The light gradually dissipated. Within Yi Qing Luo's body, there seemed to be a clear spring flowing along her meridians. His body and mind felt comfortable. Even the pain from Lung Fenghua's palm energy seemed to have disappeared. F***CK. Where did this freak come from? A breakthrough of 4 ranks in one go? I must be dreaming. How could this be possible? I've never seen anyone who could advance so many ranks in one go. None of the mercenaries could believe their own eyes. A breakthrough to the mystic profound grade, and straight to the mystic profound 4th grade. This was simply unheard of. Chapter 235. Yi Qing Luo smiled sweetly, as enchanting as a flower. After her breakthrough, her entire temperament had undergone an earth-shattering change. That pair of enchanting eyes revealed a bit of charm. Her exquisite face and faint smile caused everything around her to lose all its brilliance. This smile could be said to be devastatingly beautiful, unparalleled. However, This smile, in Lung Fenghua's eyes, was like a devil from hell. His whole body was ice cold, and before he could react he felt a stinging pain on his neck. Yi Qing Luo's fan handle pressed against Lung Fenghua's neck. The sharp blade cut his skin. A drop of bewitching blood flowed on the blade. Lung Fenghua felt the pain, drew a cold breath. His body had just moved. Both his arms were held by Yi Qing Luo's hands. Crack! Lung Fenghua only felt a numbness in both arms. The bones were twisted. He was in so much pain that he broke out in cold sweat. His facial features were hideous. His entire face was twisted into a ball. That pair of sinister eyes was filled with hostility. In his heart, there was a turbulent wave. He couldn't believe the once weak and incompetent, meek Yi Qing Luo actually improved so quickly. Her beauty was so ostentatious that he couldn't bear it. The strong and sharp aura shocked him to the point that he had no room to resist. How could the current Lung Fenghua have the slightest bit of his usual gentleness? Lung Fenghua, no matter what you are a crown prince, don't say that I didn't give you a chance. Yi Qing Luo's fan handle lightly patted his neck a few times. Lung Fenghua's muscles stiffened. His whole body tensed up. Aren't you and eldest sister affectionate, lovey-dovey? Then. Now, let Yi Qing Qian come over. Kowtow to me a few times. Then I will let you go. How about that? Yi Qing Luo's charming eyes were glistening. The smile on the corner of her mouth was full of ridicule. Yi Qing Qian, who was standing far away in the safe zone, heard this. Angrily pointed at Yi Qing Luo. Yi Qing Luo! You dare to ask us to kneel? Aren't you afraid of being struck by lightning? You're not dead yet. This lightning can't strike me no matter what. Yi Qing Luo's brows rose as her lips curled into a sarcastic smile. Don't tell me. Eldest sister is unwilling to kneel down for Lung Fenghua? After saying that, she clicked her tongue and shook her head helplessly. So the relationship between you two isn't as good as I thought. It's just a kneel and you can save your lover. You're still unwilling? Don't try to sow discord between us. Yi Qing Qian's face darkened as she clutched her sleeves tightly. Who knows if you're intentionally teasing us? She bit her lower lip fiercely, her eyes burning with anger. Her feelings towards Lung Fenghua was not true love. What she loved was his status and power. Moreover, Lung Fenghua did not have true feelings for her. Especially just now, in order to escape, he had actually left her to be the prey of that wave of magical beasts. These actions made Yi Qing Qian's heart turn cold. For her to kneel down to Yi Qing Luo for Lung Fenghua, she couldn't do it. That's right, there's a high possibility that he's playing a trick on you. Yi Qing Luo raised her eyebrows. The blade of the fan swam around Lung Fenghua's skin. The blade shone with a piercingly cold light, as though the slightest movement would cut his neck. The feeling of the death god above his head was indeed torturous. Lung Fenghua's body stiffened. Even his breathing was careful. Yi Qing Luo's dimples bloomed as her enchanting sweet voice slowly seeped into everyone's eardrums. But you don't have a choice. So what if they were playing a trick? Chapter 236. You're going too far. Yi Qing Qian was so angry that her entire body was trembling. Her 10 fingers were tightly embedded into the flesh of her palm. Yi Qing Luo sneered disapprovingly. I never bully others. In her eyes, Yi Qing Qian was at most an animal. Following that, Yi Qing Luo raised up 3 fingers as her chilly voice was piercingly cold. I'll count to 3. Either you kneel down or he dies. Yi Qing Luo withdrew a finger and spat out a word. 1. Yi Qing Qian's eyes were filled with unwillingness. His heart was filled with hatred, burning in his heart. 2. Yi Qing Luo retracted another finger. Yi Qing Qian still didn't move. Lung Fenghua didn't dare to turn his neck and could only turn his eyes and stare at Yi Qing Qian's direction. He absolutely believed that Yi Qing Luo wasn't joking. 3. The last number came out from Yi Qing Luo's pink lips. With a dong sound, Yi Qing Qian's knees landed heavily on the ground. The gravel on the ground stabbed into her knees. Hiss! Yi Qing Qian sucked in a breath of cold air, her facial features contorted in pain. She bit her lower lip tightly as she endured the humiliation and kowtowed towards Yi Qing Luo's direction. His forehead was pressed against the ground. She curled up her fingers, one by one, leaving marks on the ground. But for a long time he didn't hear Yi Qing Luo's voice. Yi Qing Luo, for His Highness I will kneel. What else do you want? Yi Qing Qian's gaze was venomous as she raised her head abruptly and stared ahead. The voice stopped abruptly. In front of him, where was Yi Qing Luo, only Lung Feng Hua was half kneeling on the ground, clutching his neck and panting heavily. Yi Qing Qian's face twitched a few times as she stiffly twisted her neck and looked around. They saw Yi Qing Luo, who was originally standing in front, holding Lung Feng Hua hostage, was now in the midst of the beast horde. All the mercenaries were working together with her to surround a huge, leopard-shaped, magical beast. Yi Qing Qian was so infuriated that she couldn't stop trembling. She knelt down, but Yi Qing Luo totally disregarded her. Yi Qing Luo actually dared to tease her like this. Hatred spread rapidly from the bottom of his heart. She must kill Yi Qing Luo. He had to wash away today's humiliation. Not long ago, while Yi Qing Luo was teasing Yi Qing Qian, the mercenaries were annihilating wave after wave of magical beasts. Accompanying the beast tide were 3 advanced mirage beasts. One of the gigantic leopard-shaped mirage beasts bared its fangs and charged towards the leader. His speed was so fast that no one could react in time. Leader, the mercenaries cried out in fear. Their mercenary corps of more than 40 people joined forces to deal with a low-level phantom beast, but a few of them would die, not to mention a high-level phantom beast. Moreover, the leopard-type phantom beast's eyes were scarlet red, revealing a strong killing intent. It's over. 10 meters ahead, roll right. Suddenly, a cold voice entered the regiment commander's ears. Then he saw a white figure coming over quickly. The feather fan at her fingertips rolled up a bewitching red light and enveloped the high-level phantom beast. The commander reacted quickly, leaping forward with large strides and rolling on the ground. His body happened to be submerged in a pile of weeds and trees, and in an instant he disappeared without a trace. Yi Qing Luo's profound qi could only make the high-level phantom beast stagnate for a moment. When it could move, it lost its target in front of it. It immediately flew into a rage and stared at Yi Qing Luo with its scarlet eyes. Human, this beast does not want to be enemies with you. Hand over that human. Chapter 237. The moment she opened her mouth, everyone was stunned. It was rumored that mirage beasts could speak human language and live like humans. This rumor turned out to be true. It was the first time for the mercenaries present to hear the voice of a mirage beast. What made them even more surprised was this high-level mirage beast actually used a negotiating tone to speak to Yi Qing Luo. Yi Qing Luo was also slightly stunned. Leopard-type high-level mirage beast. She narrowed her eyes slightly. Why are you looking for him? The high-level mirage beast's eyes sunk, revealing a bloodthirsty hatred. Human, he killed my son. If you insist on protecting that person, don't blame this beast for not showing mercy. Son? Yi Qing Luo looked at the mercenary beside her. That mercenary shook his head desperately. They had killed so many magical beasts. Who knew which one this high-level mirage beast's son was? That high-level mirage beast took a step forward, as if it had smelled the scent of the group leader. The mercenaries looked at Yi Qing Luo with pleading eyes. It could be seen that this high-level mirage beast still had some fear towards Yi Qing Luo. If Yi Qing Luo was not here, this mirage beast would probably directly destroy this place to avenge its son. Ow, ow, ow. Suddenly, a ball of white little thing, as fast as lightning, rushed to the front of Yi Qing Luo, a palm-sized kitten sitting on the ground. Its mouth issued a warning, ow-ow sound. The dark eyes of the beast faintly flashed a few traces of red light. Don't want to live. Miss, your kitten, a little thing, in order to protect its master, actually wanted to fight against a high-level mirage beast which was taller than a mountain? But a scene that made everyone dumbfounded happened, only to see that huge mirage beast stopped in front of the kitten. The mirage beast suppressed its anger, lowered its eyes, and stared at Yi Qing Luo. Human, what do you want? When she saw Chi-Chi sitting at the foot of the mirage beast, Yi Qing Luo finally understood why this mirage beast was so afraid of her. Chi-Chi was one of the 4 sacred beasts, the ancestor of all the beasts. After she and Chi-Chi formed a contract, her body would naturally be contaminated with Chi-Chi's scent. High-leveled magical beasts and above were able to sniff out that Yi Qing Luo had contracted with a sacred beast. Your son, is he a low-level mirage beast? Yi Qing Luo's lips curled into a smile, her charming eyes amiable. This leopard mirage beast reminded Yi Qing Luo of the agile little mirage beast. Wasn't that little mirage beast chasing after its own kin? Was it abandoned by its kin? Then this one, since he was so eager to avenge his son, it was obvious that he cared a lot about the little mirage beast. Then why would the little mirage beast show such an expression? You saw my son? The high-rank fantasy beast's eyes darkened. You're in cahoots with these humans. Aolo! Chi-Chi whimpered unhappily. It was very dissatisfied with the magical beast's attitude towards its master. It leapt up and jumped onto Yi Qing Luo's shoulder. The rage of the high-level phantom beast was instantly extinguished. But its pair of beast eyes were still staring intently at Yi Qing Luo, as though as long as Yi Qing Luo replied with a yes, it would disregard everything else and directly tear Yi Qing Luo apart. Roar, roar. A loud and clear beast roar sounded from behind Yi Qing Luo. Immediately, Yi Qing Luo only felt a gust of chilly wind blowing past her cheek and saw a shadow flitting past her eyes. That little mirage beast crashed into the body of the high-level mirage beast. Roar, roar! The little mirage beast rubbed against it, its beast eyes glistening with tears. Jean, The high-level mirage beast roared excitedly when it saw the little mirage beast. Chapter 238. As soon as these 3 high-level mirage beasts appeared, the surrounding magical beasts seemed to have seen their king and stood obediently on both sides. Wave after wave of ferocious beast tide also came to a stop. The entire scene was so quiet that only the low cries of these 3 mirage beasts could be heard. The group of beasts did not dare to move. The surrounding mercenaries also did not dare to move. Yi Qing Luo narrowed her eyes, sure enough. From the first time she saw this little mirage beast, she felt that this little mirage beast was not an ordinary low-level mirage beast, because its speed and reaction was several times faster than ordinary low-level mirage beasts. The relatives of this little mirage beast were all high-level mirage beasts. Human. The high-leveled mirage beast that was gently caressing the small mirage beast suddenly opened its mouth. Its voice was like a great bell, falling heavily into Yi Qing Luo's ears. It lowered its head and suddenly stretched out its tail towards Yi Qing Luo. That huge, fluffy tail was the size of a thick tree. As its tail moved, the surrounding mercenaries held their breath vigilantly and released their profound qi, ready to go. Yi Qing Luo looked down at the fluffy tail in front of her, pondered for a moment, and stretched out her hand. Her body was curled up by the tail. Her body became light, and she landed on the back of the high-level mirage beast. Yi Qing Luo couldn't see the huge leopard-type mirage beast clearly as she sat in it. The surrounding mercenaries felt cold all over as they swallowed their saliva and looked at this scene in disbelief. What was the identity of this woman? High-level Mirage Beast. That was a high-level Mirage Beast. It actually took the initiative to invite a human to sit on its back. You know, all magical beasts had their own dignity. Even if one managed to tame a normal magical beast, it would take a long time to train it into one's own beast. Not to mention the high and mighty high-level Mirage Beast. To let a human ride on its back was a disgrace to the Mirage Beast. They were absolutely dreaming. This was absolutely a dream. Under everyone's shocked gaze, the high-level Mirage Beast turned around and carried Yi Qing Luo into the depths of the forest. Yi Qing Luo sat steadily on the back of the Mirage Beast. The seemingly hard as steel fur was exceptionally soft. Seeing the high-level phantom beast carrying her away, she subconsciously turned her head and looked in the direction of the treetops. The man in snow-white clothes was still standing in the wind with his hands behind his back. His jet-black hair fluttered in the wind, and his tall and straight figure exuded an aura that looked down on the world. That ordinary-looking face seemed especially unfathomable. Separated by a long distance, Yi Qing Luo could still see the gentleness between the man's brows. As if sensing her gaze, the man's thin lips curled up slightly as he spat out two silent words. Yi Qing Luo's heart suddenly skipped a few beats. She understood Mo Xian's lips. Her cheeks suddenly flushed red. She turned her head away as if she was fleeing, no longer looking at him. He said, "I'll wait for you." She covered her chest with her fair hands as she felt her heart racing uncontrollably. This man, he had really put his flirting skills to good use. The right place, the right time. Coincidentally, it made her heart flutter. The high-leveled Mirage Beast's speed was extremely fast. Yi Qing Luo could only feel the oncoming wind blowing against her face, biting cold. But the scorching temperature on her face could not be reduced by the gusts of wind, until the high-level Mirage Beast brought her to the depths of the forest and stopped in front of a huge cave. Chapter 239. After arriving at the door, the high-level Mirage Beast swept its tail and dragged Yi Qing Luo to the ground. Following that, the three high-level Mirage Beasts quickly transformed into ordinary leopard beasts. The little Mirage Beast also transformed into a little leopard with the same size as Chi-Chi and followed her mother. The four Mirage Beasts led Yi Qing Luo into the cave. The cave was pitch black, and the eyes of the beasts were emitting a faint green light, looking particularly eerie. Yi Qing Luo had nothing to worry about. She didn't feel the slightest hostility from these Mirage Beasts. These Mirage Beasts probably had something to say to her. Not knowing how long they had walked, Yi Qing Luo finally saw a glimmer of light. The four Mirage Beasts stopped in their tracks. This was the deepest part of the cave, surrounded by rock walls, and four luminous pearls were hanging on the four walls. The four Mirage Beasts sat on their knees. "Human, why are you able to form a contract with the greatest ancestor of the sacred beasts?" The high-level Mirage Beast's eyes swept over Chi-Chi and finally fell on Yi Qing Luo. In the hearts of the Mirage Beasts, the ancestors of the sacred beasts were eternal legends in their hearts. It couldn't understand why one of the ancestors of the sacred beasts, the white tiger, would form a contract with an ordinary cultivator. Not waiting for Yi Qing Luo to answer, the high-level Mirage Beast continued in a deep voice. "In the secret history of the beasts, our four great sacred beasts' ancestors used to be all-powerful and finally formed a contract with the Emperor of Gods. They followed the Emperor of Gods to conquer all the realms, sweeping the Nirvana realm and even the Upper Realm, creating countless legends." Speaking of the ancestors of the beasts, the high-level Mirage Beast's eyes were full of pure admiration. The only master of the sacred beasts is the Emperor of Gods. Why? After the Emperor of Gods has been asleep for thousands of years, why did he choose an ordinary cultivator? The Mirage Beast's question was directed at Chi-Chi. Listening to the high-level Mirage Beast talking about the secret history of the sacred beasts, Yi Qing Luo's heart was filled with a strange feeling. She was also puzzled about this question. Old Man Song said that Chi-Chi was one of the 4 ancient sacred beasts, the white tiger. Then why did the sacred beasts choose her? Chi-Chi sat upright on Yi-Ching Luo's shoulder. A pair of dark tiger eyes quietly gazed at the high-level mirage beast. Although it was small, its whole body emitted the majesty of a sacred beast, causing the illusory beast to lower its head. However, he did not give up on this question. Lord, holy beast, why did you choose her? Awu, awu. Chi-Chi remained silent for a while before letting out a low howl. Yi-Ching Luo couldn't understand Chi-Chi's words, but the mirage beast could understand. Its eyes widened for a moment as it looked at Yi-Ching Luo in astonishment. However, in the blink of an eye, the beast's eyes returned to their previous tranquility. Human. The phantom beast suddenly lowered its body and lay on the ground. When the other 2 magical beasts saw this, they immediately followed behind it and did the same thing. This was the symbol of the highest etiquette of the illusory beast race. Human, can this beast ask you for a favor? The phantom beast's voice was a bit hoarse. Yi-Ching Luo frowned slightly as her gaze swept back and forth between Chi-Chi and the mirage beast. The expression on her face was slightly solemn. You speak first. The mirage beast licked its mouth and seemed to use all its strength to speak word by word. I hope you can contract Jur. One sentence stirred up thousands of waves. The little mirage beast roared a few times and stuck out its mouth to rub against the mirage beast's body, as if to say that it didn't want to leave. Contract this little mirage beast? Yi-Ching Luo understood that the reason why the mirage beast made this request was because of Chi-Chi's beast language. Chapter 240. A human who can form a contract with a sacred beast is bound to be able to walk the path of the strong. The mirage beast's eyes were full of seriousness. It nudged the little mirage beast's body, indicating it to lie down. Although the little mirage beast was somewhat unwilling, it still obediently lay down beside its mother. This beast hopes that or can become a high-level mirage beast. The mirage beast continued. Following this beast, it will never be able to grow and... It paused, its eyes revealed a sad emotion, and it is not loved by the leopard clan. Yi-Ching Luo thought of the beast tide, when the little mirage beast was kicked and abandoned by several high-level leopard mirage beasts. When it looked at those mirage beasts, it touched her. Human, I believe you will take good care of my son and lead him to the peak of the strong. The mirage beast's eyes were sincere. Yi-Ching Luo was silent. At first, she was indeed infected by the little mirage beast's eyes and was very interested in it, but this little mirage beast was not abandoned by the other beasts. It had a mother who loved it. If she formed a contract with it, wouldn't it separate mother and son? Looking at this mirage beast's reluctance to part with the little mirage beast. Human, are you willing to listen to a story? Seeing Yi-Ching Luo remained silent for a long time, the mirage beast sighed softly. Yi-Ching Luo was slightly stunned and nodded. The mirage beast climbed up from the ground, flicked its tail, and walked towards the corner of the cave. Yi-Ching Luo followed closely. Half a stick of incense later. Ending the conversation with the mirage beast, Yi-Ching Luo stared at the little mirage beast for a long time. If it is willing, I can form a contract with it. The little mirage beast raised its head, its brown eyes blinked. I swear it will be my eternal partner. Yi-Ching Luo's eyes were firm. In my heart, it has the same position as Chi-Chi. Woof, woof. Chi-Chi leaped onto Yi-Ching Luo's shoulder, rubbed her cheek, indicating that it agreed with all the master's decisions. Yi-Ching Luo's pink lips, slightly hooked up into an amiable arc, stretched out her hand to the little mirage beast. If you are willing, come with me. Be it humans or beasts, they all have their own set of survival rules. If you want to have the ability to protect yourself and your loved ones, you must have undefeatable strength. If you want to possess such power, the only way is to keep fighting, keep challenging, and keep accumulating and growing. Are you willing to grow with me? The little mirage beast listened attentively to Yi Qing Luo's words. Its eyes sparkled incessantly. Yi Qing Luo's words were exactly what it was thinking. But the little mirage beast knew that if it contracted with Yi Qing Luo, it would never be able to see its mother again. The tiny claws hesitated for a long time, unable to take a step towards Yi Qing Luo. Go, child. She will train you until you become strong enough. I will see you again. The magical beast, choked with sobs, licked the little magical beast's fur, and immediately used its head to nudge the little magical beast's body. The small magical beast growled a few times. Slowly he walked towards Yi Qing Luo and stood in front of her. Yi Qing Luo's lips curled up into a smile. The feather fan streaked across her fingertips. A drop of blood dripped onto the forehead of the little mirage beast. A ray of light shrouded the both of them. A diamond-shaped mark appeared on the forehead of the little mirage beast. The contract was completed. Human. Thank you. When it saw the diamond-shaped mark, the eyes of the mirage beast flashed with tears. This mark expressed Yi Qing Luo's intentions. This was the lowest level of contract among the beast clans. Peace contract. The contracted beast clan could choose to terminate the contract with the consent of the master at any time, and would not suffer any backlash or punishment. The mirage beast closed its eyes. Its heart was completely at ease. Chapter 241. By the time Yi Qing Luo returned to Dmo Xian's side, the beasts had dispersed. The remaining 30 mercenaries, under the command of the group leader, sat on the ground to rest. Yi Qing Qian and Lung Feng Hua stood by the side, arguing about something. When Yi Qing Luo returned, everyone's gazes towards her were filled with reverence. That leopard beast. Could it be the high-level mirage beast just now? I heard that mirage beasts can transform their body shape. That seems to be it. Everyone looked over at the source of the commotion. They saw a leopard beast leading a small leopard, head-to-head, following behind Yi Qing Luo. Just now Yi Qing Luo left with 3 high-level mirage beasts, and now she came back with 2 leopard beasts, one big and one small. Everyone naturally guessed that these 2 leopard beasts were the high-level mirage beasts just now. Yi Qing Luo ignored this group of mercenaries. Her line of sight met with the man in white on the treetop. He leaned against the treetop and supported his head with one hand, his long black hair cascading down like smoke, his long narrow eyes slightly squinted, reflecting a demonic arc. That loose white robe made him look even more distinguished and lazy. Yi Qing Luo's eyes rippled with a smile, turned her head to look at the mother and son pair, who were still dating, and moved her feet, leaving space for the mother and son. Presumably, the mother beast had a lot of words to say to its little Luo. Yi Qing Luo had just moved under the tree. Her waist suddenly tightened. A scorching hot chest had already covered her delicate back. The man's warm breath directly sprayed on her neck. What's the result? I contracted that little mirage beast. Yi Qing Luo was not used to it as she shrank her neck. Oh, Dmo Xian raised his brows slightly. Little Luo. This trip, you've earned a lot. Your luck is not bad. Indeed, it was a profit. She followed Dmo Xian to the magic beast forest. The purpose was to find an opportunity to break through the mystic, profound realm. Now she not only broke through, but also advanced to mystic, profound 4th grade. What's more, she picked up a lot of magic cores and 1 or 2 magic crystals. Now she had contracted a leopard beast that could grow. I signed a peace contract with it. Yi Qing Luo took a look at the little mirage beast that was still snuggling up to the mother beast. Her charming eyes were tinged with a trace of warmth. The contract is because I want to help it. Yi Qing Luo succinctly told him what the mirage beast had told her. Shi Ju, that little phantom beast, was not a pure leopard beast. More accurately, it only had half of the bloodline of a leopard. This was the reason why it was abandoned by the other leopards. And the reason why Shiju could live safely until now was because its mother, that high-level mirage beast, was the king of the 5th level. However, even such an identity could not hide the fact that Shiju was not a pure leopard. When the mother beast wasn't around, it was spurned, mocked, and ridiculed by its fellow beasts. No leopard was willing to play with it. Apart from his mother, all of his relatives despised him. In particular, all of his relatives had been promoted to high-level phantom beasts. Only it was a low-level phantom beast. The Void Mother felt that it would be detrimental to Shiju's growth if it continued to stay by its side. Although Shiju had lived for hundreds of years, but in the Beast Clan it was equivalent to a 6 or 7-year-old child. When it longed for the love of its fellow beasts, the mockery from those beasts would form a scar, leaving a scar in Shiju's heart. Especially something like today had happened. Chapter 242. The Void Mother realized that if this were to continue, the son she wanted to protect with all her heart might not be able to grow up normally. Because of this, when the mother beast saw Yiqing Luo, it endured its unwillingness to let Shiju and Yiqing Luo form a contract. Because Lord Holy Beast had said something. Because a human that the Lord Saint Beast had acknowledged would definitely be able to train its son. Because the beast race was the most sensitive to the changes in human emotions and hearts. It could tell that although Yiqing Luo looked cold and emotionless on the surface, but her heart was actually very kind. Finally, it hoped that I could bring Shiju to Shiju's father. Yiqing Luo's eyelashes drooped, but regarding Shiju's father's matter, it's not willing to say a single word more. Dmo Xian held her waist tightly as he laughed softly. Shiju only has half leopard beast bloodline, which means that Shiju's father is not a leopard beast. The fact that this mother beast gave birth to Shiju in the magical beast forest alone means that something happened between it and Shiju's father. As soon as he finished speaking, he wrapped his arms even tighter around her. That elegant sandalwood scent lingered in Yiqing Luo's heart bit by bit. It doesn't want to talk about it because it doesn't want to talk about its past. Since it asked you to find Shiju's father, it must be because of Shiju's father. If he sees Shiju, he will definitely be able to recognize Shiju. Yiqing Luo nodded her head slightly. She had no choice but to admit that Dmo Xian's words of consolation had struck the spot in her heart. She raised her eyes and looked at the leopard and leopard cubs who were still rubbing against each other. Her clear eyes were filled with warmth. Actually, my Lil Luo's nature is still kind. Dmo Xian's slender fingers caressed Yiqing Luo's cheek. His slender and fair fingers had distinct joints and were extremely beautiful. Kindness, no matter if it was her previous life or this life, she would always be called heartless, bloodthirsty, demoness, and other similar comments. This was the first time someone had used this term on her. It was really unfamiliar. She was kind, but not to people. The sincere feelings of these two leopards were worthy of her kindness. Many times, beasts were more worthy of respect than humans. Humans could sacrifice their children for their own benefit, but beasts would not. Beasts would only place their closest kin in the most important position. Yiqing Luo stared at the two mirage beasts and did not notice that Dmo Xian had changed the way he addressed her. He had also neglected that she had admitted that she was Dmo Xian's little Luo. Yiqing Luo. Suddenly, Yiqing Qian's sharp voice was heard. "You fickle woman! How dare you hug another man in front of His Highness? If this matter reaches the ears of the old ancestor, you will suffer." From afar, Yiqing Luo could see the intense jealousy in Yiqing Qian's eyes. To Yiqing Qian, Yiqing Luo's disregard towards her was the greatest humiliation. That kneel was an indelible humiliation for Yiqing Qian in this lifetime. Yiqing Luo raised her brows and pushed the hand on her waist. This time round, Dmo Xian didn't take the opportunity to take advantage of Yi Qing Luo as he obediently let go of his hand. Yi Qing Luo's lips curled into a smile as her eyes were filled with a deep, cold intent. If I didn't remember wrongly, as early as 3 months ago, Leng Fenghua had personally said that he wanted to request for a decree from the monarch to cancel our engagement. Chapter 243. 3 months ago. It just so happened that Leng Fenghua and Yi Qingqian were in their passionate love period. Leng Fenghua's face suddenly sunk as his gloomy eyes stared at Yi Qingqian, as though he was blaming Yi Qingqian for telling Yi Qing Luo their private conversation. Yi Qingqian instantly felt extremely aggrieved. For Leng Fenghua, she even knelt down to Yi Qing Luo, giving Yi Qing Luo a chance to humiliate her. Leng Fenghua did not know how to be grateful, and even spoke coldly to her. The more Yi Qingqian thought about it, the more indignant she felt. But she didn't dare to flare up at Leng Fenghua, so she could only clench her teeth and suppress her anger, thinking of ways to shut Yi Qing Luo's mouth. Seventh sister, you can eat whatever you want, but you can't say whatever you want. 3 months ago, His Highness often visited the Three Springs sect residence. When did he mention anything about breaking off the engagement with you? Since ancient times, there has been no reason for a woman to divorce her husband. You were just blinded by another man today. When she said other men, she specially took a glance at Dmo Xian. Her eyes were filled with disdain and ridicule. Only Yi Qing Luo would take a fancy to such an ordinary man. I say, big sister, you can't have forgotten 3 months ago. You and Leng Fenghua were under the big tree in the garden. Yi Qing Luo's voice paused as her charming eyes revealed a crafty smile. That tenderness between the both of you is really like a pair of lovers. Even I, who is tens of miles away, can hear that voice which makes one's ears turn red. Yi Qingqian was embarrassed and indignant. Her face turned green and white as she trembled with anger. She wanted to teach Yi Qing Luo a lesson, but she had not expected Yi Qing Luo to be so stifled that she couldn't even say a single word. Yi Qing Luo couldn't be bothered with her as she walked straight towards the mercenary group. The ground was littered with the corpses of wild beasts, and the smell of blood was extremely heavy. Yi Qing Luo swept a glance at those corpses and immediately spread out her hands towards the group leader. Magic cores and magic crystals. This impolite tone made the group leader stunned for a moment as he was unable to understand the meaning behind Yi Qing Luo's words. Seeing his blank look, Yi Qing Luo patiently explained, "Give me all the magic cores and magic crystals collected from the beast horde." Hiss! The mercenaries who were resting on the ground sucked in a cold breath. She had never seen someone so domineering and arrogant, so righteous. The guild leader's face also showed a bit of embarrassment, although it was all thanks to Yi Qing Luo that they were able to escape from danger in this beast tide. But after all, they had suffered heavy losses this time. They might not even be able to earn their employer's share of the money. Yi Qing Luo had already led her little kitten to search for most of the magic cores. Moreover, she had also picked up a mana crystal. She had made a huge profit. Logically speaking, he shouldn't pursue the matter of the remaining monster cores with them. Speaking of magic cores, I haven't asked you yet. Yi Qingqian's hands under her sleeves clasped together tightly. This mercenary group is hired by Your Highness. Whatever they get from their hard work should belong to Your Highness. Contribute? Yi Qing Luo curled her lips into a smile which didn't look like a smile. Her eyes narrowed as she looked at the group leader. How much effort did you put in? The leader's face stiffened and he lowered his head. At that time when the high-level mirage beast was chasing him, it was Yi Qing Luo who made the most accurate calculation for him and warned him, which allowed him to survive. Yi Qingqian gritted her teeth and stared at the group leader resentfully. Then she looked at Yi Qing Luo. In short, we have more people, so we should get more. Take out all your magic cores and that magic crystal. Yi Qing Luo snorted lightly, and rolled her eyes disapprovingly. She spread out her palm towards the group leader. Magic cores and magic crystal. Chapter 244. Xiaoji. Yi Qingqian shouted in a low voice when she saw the group leader took out the brocade bag. Her facial features were distorted, and she could no longer maintain her usual gentleness. You are a mercenary hired by His Highness and me. According to the mercenary group regulations, all your spoils of war today should be handed over to the employer. As she spoke, Yi Qingqian's figure flashed and quickly moved towards Yi Qingluo's direction. She stretched out her hand and tried to snatch the brocade bag from the group leader's hand. Pa! Yi Qingqian felt a burning pain on her wrist. An extremely clear red mark immediately appeared on her fair and slender wrist. Yi Qingqian sucked in a breath of cold air from the pain and hurriedly withdrew her hand as she grimaced in pain. Immediately, she watched as Yi Qingluo took the brocade bag from the group leader and waited a few times. Yi Qingluo. Yi Qingqian's arm was already numb, and she didn't even have the strength to lift her hand. What did you do to me? Yi Qingluo ignored her and directly poured out some magic cores from the brocade bag. About 10 pieces of magic cores. She casually threw them towards the direction of the group leader. These are your compensation. The group leader stretched out his hand and kept the 10 pieces of magic cores in his palm. His sword-like eyebrows were tightly knitted together. His upright and plain-spoken face revealed traces of suppressed anger. 10 pieces of magic cores? Young lady, are you trying to humiliate us? The mercenaries' faces immediately darkened, although they were filled with reverence towards an expert like Yi Qingluo. But they were a team. Even if Yi Qingluo was an expert, no matter how powerful she was, they would never allow her to humiliate their team in such a way. Yi Qingluo raised her eyebrows, her cold and charming eyes like the moon outlined a narrow arc. Humiliate? Are you worth my effort to humiliate you? The moment these words came out, those mercenaries' faces turned even uglier. They knew this girl was arrogant, but they didn't expect her to be arrogant to this extent. Yi Qingqian was so angry that her whole body was trembling. The more she trembled, the more painful the numbness of her wrist became. Suddenly, she felt a sweet taste in her throat and a mouthful of blood spurted out from her mouth. Yi Qingluo's words were obviously meant to ridicule her. The minute she recalled that she was forced to kneel down, Yi Qingluo actually left directly, totally disregarding her behavior. The fury in Yi Qingqian's heart burned even more vigorously. Your contribution today, deducting the cost of saving your lives, 10 pieces of magical beast cores is enough. Yi Qingluo sneered. Soon after, she placed the brocade bag into her sleeves and turned around to walk towards Di-Emo-Xian. At this time, the sky was already beginning to brighten. If they stayed any longer, they would be late for the freshman training. Perhaps Yi Qingqian would catch hold of her weakness and report the matter of her sneaking out of the academy to the academy. One must know that the rules of the Heavenly Academy were extremely strict and would never allow students to leave the academy during non-holidays. The mother and son beast, who were snuggling against each other, on seeing that Yi Qingluo's matter had been settled. The mother beast pushed Shiju over to Yi Qingluo's side. The Void Mother was extremely reluctant, but it understood that if it continued to stay, Shiju would probably be even more unwilling to leave it. It had finally made up its mind, but because of this reluctance, it would go back on its word. The mother beast's gaze slowly shifted onto Di-Emo-Xian. Its eyes blinked and returned to Yi Qingluo. Immediately, it nodded its huge leopard head meaningfully. Looks like even if I am not by Juer's side, it can still enjoy the warmth of home. Wait a minute. The Void Mother's eyes were filled with deep meaning and a teasing smile. What was going on? Chapter 245. Yi Qingluo tried to explain, but Di-Emo-Xian didn't give her a chance. He used his actions to show the mother beast that it absolutely didn't misunderstand. Dmo Xian stretched out his long arm and held onto Yi Qing Luo's waist. His thin lips curled up slightly. His pitch-black eyes revealed some tenderness. "Don't worry, little Luo. I will definitely do what he promised you." The strong and powerful arm imprisoned Yi Qing Luo, and she was unable to break free. The scorching hot chest was broad and thick. Yi Qing Luo's cheeks flushed red as she slapped the hand on her waist fiercely. Yi Qing Luo didn't notice that she had made such a delicate action of a little girl. The mother beast's eyes revealed an envious smile. Gradually, it became a little blurry. Its thoughts seemed to have drifted to a long time ago. It had such a sweet and warm period of time. 2 people and 1 beast finished their final farewell. A white 9-tailed fox descended from the sky. 9 white, fluffy tails wrapped around a luxurious carriage. A pair of enchanting beast eyes, exuding a majestic aura that made one subconsciously submit to it. When it saw the 9-tailed fox, the mother beast suddenly leaped in front of Yi Qing Luo. Its fur suddenly stood up as it stared at the 9-tailed fox with extreme vigilance. It let out a low growl. "This is not an enemy." Yi Qing Luo hurriedly appeased the mother beast and pointed to Dmo Xian. "This is his contracted battle pet." Little Nine stood quietly in the middle of the rubble. A fluffy tail stretched over and landed beside Yi Qing Luo's feet. The mother beast let out a low growl as it stared vigilantly at that tail. "Little Nine, it's been hard on you." Dmo Xian held on to Yi Qing Luo as he walked towards that tail. Little Nine's tail immediately curled up, and the both of them were firmly swept into the carriage. It was until the both of them were safely sitting outside the carriage that the mother beast's fur slowly softened. It stared at Dmo Xian with a somewhat strange gaze. "Shiju, let's go." Yi Qing Luo waved to that little leopard. Shiju turned its little head and stared deeply at the mother beast. Its little tongue licked its mouth a few times as it let out a low growl. Following that petite body scurried into Yi Qing Luo's arms at lightning speed. His tiny head was buried between Yi Qing Luo's wrist, unwilling to personally experience this parting. Yi Qing Luo rubbed its little head. "Don't worry, you'll be able to see your mother again very soon, trust me." Little Nine extended his 4 limbs, soaring into the air. The carriage floated in midair. In the blink of an eye, it seemed to have melted into the air and disappeared without a trace. The Void Mother followed the scent for a long distance, and finally stopped at the edge of the 4th level of the magical beast forest. "Nine-tailed fox, it can't be right? That unattractive man who stood there like a fool from beginning to end is." The mercenaries raised their heads and looked in the direction where 9-tailed fox had disappeared, unable to regain their senses for a long time. Xiahou Ji withdrew his gaze, a complicated look in his eyes. He clenched his fist, and the 10 demon cores in his palm burned painfully. 9-tailed fox, there was only one person in the world who possessed such a pure and holy 9-tailed fox. That was the legendary figure of the Nirvana realm, Dizun. A woman who could be by the side of Dizun was naturally extraordinary. That lady had the capital to be arrogant. Your Highness, is that really Dizun?" When Yi Qing Qian saw that 9-tailed fox, her face turned ashen as she fell to the ground. Her originally meticulously dressed hair was disheveled like a crazy woman. Her exquisite, elegant, and beautiful dress was also torn apart piece by piece. The current Yi Qing Qian was extremely embarrassed. 9-tailed fox. Dizun. That man turned out to be Dizun. Idiot. Lung Feng Hua's eyes were filled with unconcealable disgust. Chapter 246. Inside the carriage, Yi Qing Luo was forcefully pulled into Dmo Xian's arms as she sat on him. The man's chin rested on Yi Qing Luo's shoulder. As he spoke, he turned his head to look at Yi Qing Luo's side profile. His warm breath made Yi Qing Luo's petite body tremble slightly. Dmo Xian. Yi Qing Luo tried her best to ignore the hot breath on her cheeks as she pursed her lips and spoke solemnly. There was a hint of seriousness in his tone. Dmo Xian's arms tightened. Did you ask little Nine to create the beast tide? Yi Qing Luo asked uncertainly. The mother beast's attitude towards little Nine was obviously different from Chi Chi. As a sacred beast, the mother beast had 100% respect for Chi Chi. However, it was so hostile towards little Nine. Although little Nine was different from Chi Chi, a holy beast among the holy beasts. But after all, its status was above the mirage beasts. The only reason why the mother beast was so vigilant was little Nine made use of his sacred beast's power to create this wave of beast tide. Because of this, the mother beast treated little Nine as an enemy. Yes, Dmo Xian was calm. Sure enough, Yi Qing Luo's long curly lashes fluttered unnaturally. Why are you so concerned about me? She looked sideways and coincidentally met his eyes. Yi Qing Luo leaned into his arms. Their bodies were closely pressed against each other. Is my uniqueness so mesmerizing? He asked little Nine to create the beast tide just to let her grab the opportunity to break through to the mystic, profound stage. He spent so much effort and wasted so much time just to stay by her side. Even if she had something on her that was worth Dmo Xian's interest, he could just let Wind keep an eye on her in the dark. There was no need to circle around her and use his charm to lure her to take the bait. You don't know how charming you are. The man's low and hoarse voice reverberated in her heart. It was like a feather constantly scratching at the bottom of his heart. Dmo Xian's hands suddenly exerted force as he carried Yi Qing Luo up and turned around. Yi Qing Luo was completely straddling the man's lap at this moment. Face to face, for pairs of eyes looked at each other, their breaths on each other's face. Lil Luo, don't feel too touched in future. There will be many more touching things. Dmo Xian's lips curled upwards as his finger caressed Yi Qing Luo's eyes. When he first saw her, it was this pair of eyes that attracted his attention. The corners of her long and enchanting eyes shone with a piercingly cold light, but it didn't lose her purity. She was as cold as the moon and as dazzling as the moon. As the seductive light flowed, it also exuded a ruthlessness that did not match her face and age at all. This kind of ruthlessness came from the bones. Ruthlessness that was unyielding and unyielding. Her personality was just too much to his liking. The higher a profound practitioner cultivated, the longer their lifespan would be. Dmo Xian had once felt that in the long, lonely years ahead, all he could do was to muddle along day by day, until he was sick of this kind of life. However, Yi Qing Luo had inadvertently entered his eyes. It ignited his heart that had been cold and lonely for a long time. Perhaps to find this scourge, to bring disaster to the heavens together with him, then the days ahead would be even more exciting. Dmo Xian gazed at Yi Qing Luo's face as the smile on his lips became increasingly gentle, revealing an evil charm. Yi Qing Luo pursed her pink lips, but didn't reject Dmo Xian's hug. The man's gentle gaze, simple but warm words, every word and sentence, stirred up circles of ripples in Yi Qing Luo's heart. Unknowingly, in this warm atmosphere, Little Nine stopped at a corner not far away from the Heavenly Academy. Little Nine had calculated the time very accurately. In another 1 hour, it would be the freshman training time. Chapter 247. Dmo Xian's elegant brows were slightly hooked. His devilishly handsome face revealed a trace of charm because of the spirited look in his eyes. For a man to be able to display his flirtatiousness and laziness to the fullest without losing his fortitude, as well as his innate power to look down on the entire world, was something that was hard to describe. In this world, there was probably only Dmo Xian alone. Forgot again how to call me. Dmo Xian lowered his head. His long arms once again took Yi Qing Luo into his arms. Yi Qing Luo's cheeks turned hot, recalling the Xian he asked her to call. Her face became even hotter. Forgot? Then let me make you remember. Just as the voice fell, Yiqing Luo's body felt light. Her waist was tightly embraced by the man's arms. He had bent over her, and his lips were on hers, gentle and deep, extremely lingering, as if all the emotions were melted into this kiss. Yiqing Luo's nose was filled with the man's rich sandalwood scent. Her mind, with a bang, went blank. The blush on her face seemed to spread throughout her body and mind. Her whole body was ignited with a slight heat. Their black hair flew, intertwined together, 10 fingers clasped tightly, as if to indicate that they would be entangled together forever. Mo Xian's arms around her waist wrapped even tighter. His lips slowly moved to Yiqing Luo's ear. His breathing was heavy and scorching. "Call me." The low, hoarse voice, with some kind of repressed emotion, made Yiqing Luo's eyes even more blurred. Her delicate body was almost hanging in Mo Xian's arms, leaning on his chest, listening to her heartbeat, and hearing his unique, charming whisper. Yiqing Luo thought there was probably no one in this world who could escape such temptation. Slender fingers subconsciously clenched the man's lapel. In her heart, a decision was formed. She was not the kind of person who liked to be tangled and let her imagination run wild. In her world, it was either black or white. There was no middle color. Like was like, hate was hate. She didn't like to guess. And because of this, after this decision was formed, Yiqing Luo had already raised her head. Her charming eyes were suffused with flowing light, revealing some seriousness. Mo Xian, do you like me? The man's pitch-black eyes reflected her face. Yiqing Luo could feel the sweat seeping out from her palms. She could feel her petite body tensing up, trembling slightly. Nervous, filled with anxiety, she waited for Mo Xian's answer. Between her and Mo Xian, no one had ever opened their mouth to break this kind of ambiguity. Yiqing Luo didn't want to go on like this with him. Liking was liking. If he didn't like it, they should change the way they interacted. Otherwise, her heart would really be stirred by Mo Xian. If he didn't love her, then he should cut off all possibilities as soon as possible. Maintaining a friendship was good for both of them. Mo Xian, Huan loosened his grip on her waist. That pair of obsidian-like devastating and dazzling black pupils stared at Yiqing Luo with a slightly deep expression. He didn't say a word, and Yiqing Luo didn't rush him. After some time, it was until the academy's bell rang that Yiqing Luo restrained the nervousness in her heart as she clenched her fists. Think carefully about what kind of relationship we should use to continue getting along. The next time we meet, I'll be waiting for your answer. Her thin lips slightly hooked, she pulled out the wooden token representing her own information from her waist and handed it to Mo Xian. Help me do something to cover up my profound grade. This wooden token would be updated once a day. It would change the information of the holder of the wooden token in time. If the people in the academy found out that she had advanced from yellow profound 9th grade to mystic profound 4th grade overnight, it would definitely attract the attention of the academy. Chapter 248. Mo Xian's eyes were deep as he stared at Yiqing Luo's face for a long time before he received the wooden token. He placed both hands on the wooden token and immediately returned it to her. If you want to change the profound grade information on the wooden token, just use the power of the profound jade heart. Yiqing Luo nodded and kept the wooden token, thanked him, and turned to walk towards the academy. Mo Xian didn't stop her, but stared deeply at her back until she disappeared from his sight before he retracted his gaze. The lady's clear and serious voice rang in his ears. Mo Xian, do you like me? Right. If he didn't like her, he wouldn't have allowed Yiqing Luo to offend him again and again. He wouldn't be willing to stay by her side and pay attention to everything about her. But this kind of was it love? He understood the meaning behind Yiqing Luo's question. He knew what Yiqing Luo wanted, but he couldn't answer. After living for so long, Mo Xian had never loved anyone, As for love, he couldn't understand it. He couldn't tell if he could give Yi Qing Luo the kind of feelings she wanted. Back at the dormitory, Yi Qing Luo placed Shiju and Chi-Chi into the pet space. She quickly fetched a basin of water for herself, washed up and quickly dressed up, just in time for the freshman training. After 2 days of habit, the moment Instructor Ho gave the order, the students didn't waste their saliva to complain as they lined up and started running around the square. Sure enough, as Yi Qing Luo expected, just when she was on the 4th lap, Yi Qing Qian led Lu Shuiyu to the square. The moment they saw the students from the high profound class, and 2 beautiful ladies at that, the freshmen looked over. It's the senior sister from the high profound class and the vice president. Isn't that the genius Missy from Three Springs sect? No wonder she's the #1 beauty in Three Springs town. She looks so good. Listening to the exclamations of the crowd, Yi Qing Luo snorted disdainfully. Yi Qing Qian saw Yi Qing Luo, who was jogging in front from afar. Her well-manicured eyebrows frowned. That slut really left the academy last night? Lu Shuiyu's brows were filled with coldness as she asked coldly. Yi Qing Qian smiled eerily. His Highness told me personally. She cleverly covered up the fact that she had also left the academy last night and used Lung Fenghua as a shield. According to the academy's rules, as long as we can prove that the little bitch really left the academy last night, she had a way to chase Yi Qing Luo out of the academy. Lu Shuiyu's eyes were cold, and the corners of her mouth curved into a sinister smile. When Instructor Chu saw Lu Shuiyu, his expressionless face frowned and showed some disgust. He walked over and said in a cold voice, "Why did the vice president come to the square?" "The faculty council has received a secret report that one of the freshmen has violated the academy's rules. I have come here to verify the situation," Lu Shuiyu said in a businesslike manner. Instructor Chu frowned and subconsciously glanced at the completely unaffected Yi Qing Luo, who was still jogging. For Lu Shuiyu to make an appearance, it was probably related to Yi Qing Luo. A tall tree attracts the wind. This new student was too outstanding and had a stubborn personality. He had made too many enemies, and every day trouble would come to him. Sure enough, he heard Lu Shuiyu said, "Instructor, please call student E over." Instructor Chu was about to speak when a cold voice came from behind. "The students are training. If there's anything, the vice president will come after the training is over." It was Instructor Ho. Chapter 249. Lu Shuiyu's expression stiffened, as if she had not expected Instructor Ho to not give her any face. Yi Qing Qian furrowed her brows, pretending to be gentle, but a trace of jealousy seeped out. "Instructor, if this freshman really violates the rules, he will be driven out of the academy. Whether he is trained or not, it doesn't matter anymore. As long as she is still a student of the Heavenly Academy, she is my student." Instructor Ho snorted coldly without giving her any face. He had never liked to talk, but now he was staring at Yi Qing Qian preaching. As a student of the high profound class, if you have so much time to care about the freshmen, you might as well cultivate diligently. Don't embarrass the high profound class. Yi Qing Qian's face suddenly darkened. Her hands clenched into fists, suppressing the surging anger in her heart. Although Instructor Ho was just a freshman training instructor, but he had trained many elite students and had quite a prestige in the academy. Moreover, the Heavenly Academy emphasized on respecting the teachers, and now that she was reprimanded, Yi Qing Qian could not refute a word. "Instructor is right." Lu Shuiyu waited for Instructor Ho to finish and continued, "I called Yi Qing Qian to accompany me because the freshman who was tipped off is Yi Qing Luo." She raised her voice slightly. The freshmen who were running on the square heard her words. One by one, they looked at Yi Qing Luo, who was jogging at a constant speed, and whispered to each other. Why was it that every day this freshman could create some trouble, causing them, a group of freshmen, to be criticized and pointed at by other students all day long. Instructor must be very clear about student Ye's character. Student Yi Qingqian is student Ye's elder sister. I specially called her over to have a good talk with her. Lu Shuiyu's words not only helped Yi Qingqian out of trouble, but also belittled Yi Qingluo as a problem student who refused to be disciplined. Instructor Ho frowned slightly and was about to speak, but Lu Shuiyu had already passed him and walked directly towards the square. She stood beside the inner line of the square. Yi Qingluo jogged and came face to face. Student Yi, please follow me to the faculty council. Lu Shuiyu stretched out her arm and blocked Yi Qingluo's way. Yi Qingluo's footsteps were steady and her breathing was steady. She raised her eyes and glanced at Lu Shuiyu indifferently, as the corners of her lips tugged upwards in disdain. She bypassed Lu Shuiyu's hand and continued to jog. Lu Shuiyu's raised arm froze in midair, her face ashen. Yi Qingluo actually dared to throw her face in front of so many students. If Yi Qingluo wasn't taught a lesson, these freshmen would really think that faculty council was easy to bully. Student Yi, I order you in the name of the Vice President of the Faculty Council to cooperate with all the investigations of the Faculty Council. If you don't abide by the Academy's rules, don't blame me for reporting this to the principal. Lu Shuiyu narrowed her eyes. Her expression was dignified. The students were in an uproar. One by one, they retracted their necks, afraid that they would be involved in this matter. If he were to report this to the principal, he would definitely be expelled from the academy. If he was forced to leave by the Heavenly Academy, the other academies would not accept him nor dare to accept him. This also meant that after being chased out of the Heavenly Academy, his entire life would be ruined. What right do you have to investigate just because you say so? Lu Xiaoyu panted heavily as she ran to Lu Shuiyu's side and stopped in her tracks. Her little face was filled with anger. Due to the long period of jogging, her face was flushed red from holding back. Just entered the academy, and the faculty council forcefully escorted Qingluo to the faculty council, saying, "What investigation? It's only been a few days, and you're already finding excuses to say, 'What investigation?' Do you really think that you're the god of the academy, and everyone revolves around you?" Lu Xiaoyu spat out fiercely. Her face was filled with disdain. "If you have the ability, get me into the devil class too. You're just a lackey of the faculty council, and you really think that you're a human." Chapter 250. No matter how cool Lu Shuiyu was, being scolded by a freshman at this time, the anger in her heart was burning. "Lu Xiaoyu, you publicly insulted your senior and insulted the staff of the faculty council. Believe it or not, I can expel you from the academy just based on these 2 points. Yo. Lu Xiaoyu put her hands on her hips, puffed out her chest, and looked like a rascal. It turns out that the faculty council is such a place to bully people. Well, I want to see what means you people from the faculty council are going to use to bully a freshman like me." Lu Shuiyu's face was as black as charcoal. Her malicious and resentful eyes stared at Lu Xiaoyu. If it wasn't in public, Lu Shuiyu would definitely slap her in the face. When the freshmen and seniors around saw this scene, they were all mourning for Lu Xiaoyu. It was the first time they saw someone daring to openly provoke the faculty council. Did these 2 freshmen not want to live anymore? Did they not want to stay in the academy anymore? Many students were in an uproar, and there was a lot of discussion. The more they discussed, the darker Lu Shuiyu's face became. The pair of malicious eyes shot out a ruthless intent. As the vice president of the faculty council, this identity could help Lu Shuiyu get a lot of things in the academy. But at the same time, she would also lose a lot of things. For example, no matter how angry she was, she must suppress all the anger. On the surface, she must not let any students catch her in the slightest. Lu Shuiyu took a deep breath and suppressed her anger. She gritted her teeth and spat out each word. The purpose of the faculty council's existence is to maintain the peace of the academy, to maintain the order of the academy. We don't want to be gods in the eyes of the students. The only thing we want is that when any student is in trouble, the faculty council can provide them with help. Student E was secretly reported, so the faculty council naturally needs to ask Student E to verify it. After explaining till here, Lu Shuiyu's head that was clouded by anger was much clearer. Her eyes were gloomy, and she snorted coldly. But you, as a freshman, have been secretly reported again and again. That is your own problem. How can you blame it on the faculty council? Your words are even better than your singing. Lu Xiaoyu spat again. Just as he was about to open his mouth to ridicule Lu Shuiyu, he suddenly heard a clear voice. So your faculty council is a place where you can hear the wind and hear the rain. At the end of the public square, Yi Qing Luo was holding a white handkerchief, wiping the tears on her forehead as she walked over slowly. She had finished the 5 laps that the instructor had set for all the students, and she had run 1 more lap. Originally, Yi Qing Luo was prepared to try running 10 laps today, but now she saw Lu Xiaoyu arguing with Lu Shuiyu because of her. With Lu Xiaoyu's personality, the two of them would probably fight. The other party had his own influence and status in the academy. If they were to fight head-on, Lu Xiaoyu would definitely not be able to gain any advantage. Might as well Yi Qing Luo planned to settle the faculty council's trivial matters first before completing all the training in one go. I request to report this to the faculty council. The president and vice president of the faculty council have a strange habit. They always like to go to the dormitories one by one to peek at the female students bathing after the freshmen's training. Yi Qing Luo raised her brows. Her voice was clear and melodious. Almost everyone in the square could hear her teasing words. Uft! Peeping at female students, the students laughed out loud on the spot. One by one, they began to imagine the scene of the mysterious president pulling along the elegant and noble vice president, peeping at the female students bathing together. After they finished imagining, their expressions were strange. Even the gaze that looked at Lu Shuiyu revealed some strange and ridiculing. Chapter 251. You, what nonsense are you talking about? Lu Shuiyu's pretty face flushed red. Her eyes were as vicious as ice. President is elegant and holy. He is busy with the school's official affairs. How could he do such a dirty thing? Student E, if you continue to create trouble, I will bring you to the dean right now. Yi Qing Luo sneered. She couldn't help but shake her head and sigh. Si Yanmu was really capable. He actually charmed Lu Shuiyu into submission. Being slandered, Lu Shuiyu was only worried about Si Yanmu's reputation. She didn't care about herself at all. Lu Shuiyu's feelings towards Si Yanmu was totally a kind of sick obsession. Yi Qing Luo shrugged her shoulders, spread out her hands, and said helplessly, If the faculty council does not investigate, how can you prove that the president will not do such a dirty thing? How can you prove that you don't have such a special hobby? You are slandering me. This was the first time for Lu Shuiyu to meet such a sharp-tongued freshman. She had never suffered any humiliation, but she had fallen into Yi Qing Luo's trap again and again. She was so angry that her face turned ugly. Seeing that the situation was once again under Yi Qing Luo's control, Lu Shuiyu couldn't say a word. Yi Qing Qian's eyes were cold, revealing a hint of murderous intent. She clenched her fists, and when she looked up, the resentment in her eyes dissipated, revealing a kind smile, and walked towards Yi Qing Luo. Seventh sister, Shuiyu is the vice president of the faculty council. She has been in the school for many years. The school knows her temperament best. Yi Qing Qian put on a caring look, stretched out her hand to pull Yi Qing Luo's wrist. You can do whatever you want at home, but this is the Heavenly Academy. If there is no evidence, don't talk nonsense. Yi Qing Luo avoided her hand and patted her wrist with a disgusted look. Investigating me without any explanation. Does the faculty council have any evidence? If there is no evidence, What right do you have to look for me again and again? After a pause, a crafty look flashed past her eyes, and her lips revealed a coquettish smile. It is said that the faculty council is established for students to study well in the school. Now what vice president is doing is considered as harassing a freshman like me. She raised her eyebrows and straightened her uniform. Since the vice president said that he would bring me to see the dean, then let's do it. I can also ask the dean, is the faculty council really established for the academy to harass students and prevent students from training? Yi-Ching Luo's words made the surrounding students stunned by her domineering manner. This new student was simply too arrogant. Yet, so arrogant, so handsome and domineering. This kind of arrogance, when displayed by Yi-Ching Luo, was a kind of temperament. It was a temperament that made it impossible for people to feel disgusted by such arrogance. Lu couldn't help but feeling. Lu Shuiyu was rendered speechless. Her face, which had always been cold and elegant, was now flushed with embarrassment. Yi-Ching Qian secretly gritted her teeth. It wasn't easy for the faculty council to come forward. She must not miss this opportunity. If she did not give last, yes, Shui-Ching Ching. She was as a Yi-Ching, not last night, you was she. Ching had Yi-Ching. You want evidence. She really had evidence. Yi-Ching Qian sneered, and in the blink of an eye, the gentle mask hung on her face again. Evidence. Of course there is evidence. Otherwise, sister will not accompany vice president to question you. Yi-Ching Jian pinched her soft voice and set out the academy's rules. The academy's rules are written very clearly. During the period of time in the academy, other than holidays, you are not allowed to leave the academy. If you violate the academy's rules, you will be expelled immediately. Chapter 252. Yi-Ching Luo propped up her chin. A trace of doubt surfaced on her fair face. Last night? After training last night, I rested in the dormitory. When did I leave the academy? His Highness saw it with his own eyes. You and a strange man appeared in the magic beast forest. Yi-Ching Qian's beautiful eyes were filled with a gentle light as she said softly, "Tell him everything now, be honest, and I will plead for leniency to the academy for you." She deliberately concealed Mo Xian's identity. If it involved the Overlord, the academy would probably not punish Yi-Ching Luo too heavily on account of the Overlord. What she wanted was for Yi-Ching Luo to leave the Heavenly Academy forever, to be reviled and ridiculed by the world, never to recover from this setback. Waste should live a waste's life. However, there was no hint of fear on Yi-Ching Luo's face. Elder sister is amazing. You didn't leave the academy and could meet with His Highness, and even get news about me from him. Don't tell me. Elder sister also sneaked out of the academy last night to meet with His Highness? Yi-Ching Luo blinked her eyes innocently. So elder sister and His Highness have such a good relationship. You can't help it, even after a day. Previously in Three Springs sect, elder sister and His Highness had a secret meeting every night. I didn't expect elder sister and His Highness to still be so close after coming to the academy. Yi-Ching Qian's face turned green and white, with some panic in her eyes. Yi-Ching Luo really dared to say anything. This kind of private talk, although Yi-Ching Luo didn't say it in detail. But who in the crowd didn't understand? Many students had long heard that Three Springs City's #1 beauty, Three Springs sect's eldest missy, Yi-Ching Qian, had an affair with His Highness behind her sister's back. But rumors were, after all, rumors, without any confirmation. Everyone just treated it as a joke and let it pass. But now they heard it with their own ears. The main character of the rumor said these words personally. The matter of Yi-Ching Qian and His Highness secretly having an affair was true. Many students looked at Yi-Ching Qian with all kinds of gazes. Some bold male students stared at Yi-Ching Qian's beautiful figure, unbridled. If it was any other time, when Yi-Ching Qian heard this, she would definitely nod proudly to admit it and humiliate Yi-Ching Luo. But now, under the watchful eyes of the crowd, If she admitted to what she had said, her reputation would be completely ruined. Seventh younger sister, what are you talking about? There's nothing between His Highness and me. Yi Qingqian pretended to be shocked and picked up the embroidered handkerchief to suppress the non-existent tears in the corner of her eyes. His Royal Highness is your fiancé. As the future crown princess, you've been slandering His Royal Highness behind his back all day long. If you marry him in the future, you'll be the one being laughed at. Yi Qing Luo sneered. Going against your conscience to say such words, you really can endure it. No wonder the crown prince is so infatuated with you. Yi Qingqian's face turned paler by the minute. She felt that the gazes of the students around her were filled with ridicule and obscenity. The taut string in his brain snapped. The gentle mask on Yi Qingqian's face gradually cracked. Just as she was about to open her mouth to argue with Yi Qing Luo, a hand was placed on her shoulder. That hand grabbed her shoulder and flung it away casually. I have no interest to listen to the matter of you, two sisters, fighting over a man. Lu Shuiyu's icy cold voice was heard. The purpose of my visit today is to verify whether student Yi has violated the rules. Other matters can be discussed later.